Welcome to the Ace Podcast, where we talk all things art, culture, and entertainment, but more specifically pop culture entertainment. I'm your host, Will the Greatest. With me, I have my regular co-host, Aaron. What's good, bro?
Oh, man, what's good? I am doing great. Just got off work, out here doing the pod with you. May hit the gym after this. Got some poetry stuff going. I'm got in the work. So, yeah, man, things are good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. About the same. Pretty much almost down to the same routine. Yeah, I got off work, made dinner real quick. I might work out after we record, just wind down and everything for Friday. So yeah, things are chill. Things are pretty all right. So be a probably laid back weekend. I'll probably try and see Turtles and try and see Talk to Me. This is just a minor plug. My boy in his band Ephraim Snow, I think, is dropping their EP on the 6th. So that's exciting. So I'll add a link probably in the show notes and everything for people if you want to pre-order that, pre-save it. I pre-saved it. Support them. Indie rock music. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, man. How you been? It's been about
yeah, I just got back from a family reunion. It was in Florida. It was hot as hell.
I'll bet it was.
It was nice seeing some family. Yeah, man. It's just, you know what? When family reunions or vacations in general are hard when you ball on a budget. when you're trying to count your pennies as you're trying to vacation with everybody else. Yeah, we're gonna do the excursions. 1, 2. But yeah, it was cool. I made it. I made it back. We're back in the full swing of life, thriving and surviving. But I know you went on a little vacation yourself recently, didn't you?
I did spend a little under a week in Mexico. That was really fun. First time out of the country in about 10 years. Almost to the month. No, it was really good. I went with my partner. We had a fun time. I lost some shoes in the process, though. I don't know if you saw my story.
I didn't see that one. No, I didn't know you lost shoes.
I was swimming in an underground cenote. Luckily, they were only water shoes. They're old as shit anyways. I had barely worn them in years. But they had lasted me most of the vacation. I was swimming in an underground cenote, and as I was swimming, they started, 2 straps had broken as we were walking, this 40-minute... So it's underground rivers and shit. So a couple straps had broken already against a bunch of slippery rocks. Luckily, I didn't get injured or anything. Then I was swimming in a shorter portion, and the soles of it started to peel off. And so by the time I was swimming through a waterfall, the soles had peeled off almost completely. And so when I got out, they were flopping against my feet. And Damn. So I peeled them off. I carried them with me. Yeah, there's a whole lot of wild different stories. We were on a boat party, a hip hop boat party. So I jumped off the top of a boat. There's a cool video of that. Saw a bunch of iguanas on this little distant island, Isla Mujeres. So that was cool. So we had fun. It was all inclusive. It was nice. We stayed at the Rio Palace Kukulkan.
Kukulkan.
Yeah. And that's what it was. It was the Kukulkan. So that's the name of the hotel. It's a really good place. But no, it was fun. Cancun was fun. And then last weekend was Raleigh Galaxy Con, which will have a light tie-in to a topic we'll get to in a little bit about Stephen Amell, funny enough. I think it happened while I was there, and I had no idea because I wasn't at that panel. But no, Galaxy Con was good. Got to, finally meet Yuri Lowenthal. Super duper nice guy, super sweet, very polite. For a couple minutes, I got to talk to him, got an autograph, got a photo. I met Najee Jeter, who plays Miles Morales. I met Shamik Moore, who also plays Miles Morales. A lot of short kings in the voice acting industry. They were all around my height.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, if you look at my photos that I posted, they're all about eye level with me.
Right.
Which I never would have known. But no, Najee was really cool. Took a video of me, posted on his page. So that's cool.
I
Along with
saw
a bunch
that.
of other people that met him. Shamik was cool for like the second or so. I told him I loved him in Dope. He did a Q&A that was really nice. I hung out with a bunch of other Spider people. I was dressed as Miles, so it was all overall pretty good.
You
I
think Samik met each other?
That's what I was wondering. I wanted to ask, but didn't get a chance to, because their
Right.
booths were. I mean, it's all one area in a convention center, so it's within walking distance. But like, you could make a beeline from Najee's booth to Shamik's.
Okay.
So I was really wondering, like, they were separated from arenas. Like Shamik's booth was next to Paula Abdul's, who was
Oh,
also there.
Abdul's there? What the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
GalaxyCon has the most like random assortment of celebrities I've ever seen. So Paula Abdul was there, and I saw Paula Abdul, and Paula Abdul is super duper tiny. Like, oh my god, I never knew this.
Really? Whoa, I never
TV
knew that.
adds like several inches, has to,
Everyone
because
looks big on
she
TV.
walked past me with like her one security person. I guess nobody was trying to kidnap Paula Abdul, which is good, but but like,
Right.
she like, I saw this little head walk by and this like 6 foot tall dude. And I'm like, bitch, that's Paula Abdul. While I'm waiting in line for Shamik. I'm just like, and then Shamik steps out from behind them with, I'm like, oh shit, he like me.
It was just like me. That's crazy.
Yeah, but no, it was fun. But yeah, I definitely like might have blown my muscles out a little bit, because the day after, and this will be the main focus of later on in the show, I pulled the Barbenheimer with one of my friends from high school. It was about 6 hours of my day. Just I woke up that morning and I felt like 6 people jumped me in my sleep.
Damn.
I don't know what, maybe because I didn't stop to sit down that much during Galaxy, and I did a shit ton of walking when I was in Mexico, and swimming. I did a bunch of walking and swimming while I was there. Burn off all those tacos and margaritas and shit. But goddamn, like, Galaxy hit. I walked like the whole day. I didn't get home till like 3:30, and I had to be up at like 9 for Barbenheimer. I felt like I got my ass whooped. I don't know what happened. I'm like, oh,
hands.
Yeah, like my legs hurt, my back hurt, my arms hurt. I don't know if it was the spandex or what, but man, I felt rough. But it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I mean, should we hop right into it with the lighter topics?
Yeah. Let's start light before we get into the meat of it.
Yeah, so and I wanted to wait on this one. I know we didn't give any preliminary thoughts. So I guess the best way to describe it: Secret Invasion came and went.
Yep.
That's it started and it ended. I really don't have much to say that hasn't been said by literally everybody else, even the people that liked Secret Invasion. It has the same issue that The Flash has, where it just doesn't do enough with the concept that it's given. It has good actors, but with where it starts and where it ends, I don't feel like there was any real progression either for the characters much, the character of Nick Fury, or like the greater MCU arc that this multiverse saga is. Like, I don't feel like it goes really much of anywhere.
It doesn't utilize its concept well, and I think that
no, not at all. Sadly,
because they marketed it as a thriller, right? As like a paranoid thriller.
Yeah, like a spy thriller.
Really didn't get any of that outside of like the first, maybe a little in the second episode, and the rest of the show doesn't care anything about that.
Yeah, like the cinematography is grayer because it's mostly in like England and Russia, so that's just part of the environment. But I was never really on my edge. I guess full spoilers for Secret Invasion. Shout out to Nando V Movies for calling the roadie thing like 6 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. So good for him. But
even that they didn't utilize well.
Not really. Felt underwhelming. They haven't confirmed when it happened. I'm hoping.
I think the director came out and said he believed it was Civil War when he got switched.
So I think I saw the full statement of that is they're kind of leaving it up in the air, where it's like I think it was Civil War, but it hasn't like confirmed that it was Civil War. I'm hoping it's after Endgame.
Me too.
Something about Rhodey not being there for his friend's death does kind of rub me the wrong way. I as bad as it sounds, and this is maybe the entitled fan part of me versus the artistic part, but like I feel like it takes away from that movie retroactively because like it's such a conclusive film for a lot of narrative beats, and I think to be like, oh, he didn't even get to see his friend die, so it feels like an artificial way to pull more narrative out of Rhodey for Armor Wars. Uh, I
And it's
just
weird
didn't like
because
that.
he's such like a in Endgame he plays like a significant part. He's like part of the team, you know.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
he's part of the
weird.
core team that gets the stones. So I think it's also Endgame because he still had the leg braces in Endgame, but then he could walk in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
Right.
I think it's between those. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping they don't make it Civil War, but
That'd be a
other
long
than that, yeah. But yeah, that'd be like what 6. Civil War was 26 in movie canon time. It was like 2016, and
right.
then by now it's 2024, 2025
No, I think it's
in universe.
2026 probably in universe because they keep
Probably.
harping that like he's been in space for years ever since the
Oh
snap.
yeah,
It's been years since he's been back, which I
yeah,
feel like
yeah,
more than two would probably make more sense for that statement to feel like
yeah. Yeah, because he was. Oh no, the scrolls were down on Earth during Far From Home, and that was post Endgame. Yeah, I
also
don't really
they
know.
kept saying that like, oh, you've changed so much, Nick. Like you're not the same Nick you used to be. I'm like, you seem like the same guy to me. He didn't
Yeah,
really.
he's a little bit more paranoid and aggressive, but not by much.
He's got a beard now. That's pretty much it. He really
Yeah, beard doesn't wear
not
his
much
eye
different.
patch. I like his wife for what she's told to do, but
Yeah, I
it
think
didn't add much really.
the thing about it is that the plot is so underwhelming, but the performances are so good, which is
You know,
baffling.
the acting's really like Kingsley Benadir, who we're also gonna like slightly touch on later in Barbie. He's like his monologue at the end. He was really good. Nick Sam's interactions with all of his co-stars were really good. Like Sam Jack doesn't get enough credit. He is a very talented actor, even though he gets pigeonholed into a lot of roles. He does have range. Like
Right.
like you don't always see it if you watch most of the mainstream stuff. He's a talented ranged actor, and it can show up because like the difference in how he portrays Nick between his relationship with Rhodey versus his wife versus Gravik versus Talos, you know, there are differences. Like, you know, Talos, it's a little bit more buddy cop. He's a little bit more of an empathetic spouse with his wife, but he still has like that grit to him in each one. So it's like the act. Honestly, I think the weakest actor, and I think it's more because she didn't have as much to do, was Gaia,
Yeah, she's pretty
which
flat, but not
which is
flat. I mean, she was okay, but like it's crazy that they gave the character that had like the least as far as characterization the
the
most
most
power.
OP person now in the MCU. I'm like, you have now created a problem that now you have to fix
Right, you need to
because
let yourself
you
out
just
of the
made
cold.
a walking planet buster walk around like Carol and Monica. Like that's another thing that's I hate to say this because I am very excited to see the Marvels. It looks like a very fun movie. I'm expected to be like lighthearted, fun, good old time. I like Nia DaCosta. I like the cast.
Yeah.
Uh, putting the Marvels trailer in the midst of Secret Invasion's release kind of fucks up Secret Invasion stakes because the first thing you see is Nick on the sword ship. So you know whether he's a Skrull or not, Fury is still out there in some capacity.
Well, yeah, that the first trailer was out like I think last year sometime, but I think that yeah, in order for them not to fuck up their
It
own
was definitely
stakes, they
earlier
shouldn't
this
put out
year, but
any trailers for that movie until
they
Secret
they
Invasion's over.
as bad as that sounds to say, and again, I know me, I probably would have been one of the people to bitch a little bit, be like, "Where's the Marvels trailer? Where's the Marvels trailer?" But you should have waited
Yeah,
because then you kind of undercut the stakes of the show. And so in the middle of the show, it's a series, so they probably won't. Also, another thing, Maria Hill kind of died for nothing.
Maria Hill died for nothing. Talos kind of died for nothing. Both very deaths.
The president's the writing for the president that last episode was a stupid mistake. I'm sorry.
That whole episode.
I'm so sorry to this writing team.
That part. Because
a lot of people don't like the finale. People are calling Secret Invasion Marvel's worst show. I'm just like, you didn't watch Inhumans with me, bro. You weren't in the trenches, so don't give me that.
MCU's worst show.
I'll give it's probably their weakest.
Yeah, I would say. I was gonna say
it's probably below What If for me, because I think
What If. You didn't like What If that much?
No,
I liked.
I wanted What If to be more like Star Wars Visions.
Okay. I still need to watch Star Wars Visions, at least season 2 anyway. But
great, I need to finish season 2, but season 1 is great. At the minimum, it's extremely creative, like that African show they have now too, that anthology series. That's what I wanted What If to be, and the way they went about it is a little more. I don't think it's bad. It's just a little flatter in some places. The episodes are a little too short in my opinion. I don't think don't get me wrong, animation is hard. But I feel like they don't
animation for like Visions and the other ones.
Yeah, it's like I wish they switched up the style. I really did need it to be an overarching narrative. I didn't. I mean, how it shook out, it gave us like that cool ass Infinity Ultron. I like that, but it wasn't necessary. But it's like, yeah, I think of the shows, that's probably great cast that they got them all back, but the weakest use of the medium. So I put. Oh God, how many shows do we have? Like, Loki's pretty good. Hawkeye is fun. I like Miss Marvel a lot, even though it does have some issues. Falcon and Winter Soldier, again, like 80% pretty good. So I probably have to put What If at the bottom, and I'd probably put Secret Invasion at I'd probably put Secret Invasion at the bottom of the MCU shows.
I'd put it at
and no, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk's at the bottom for you. I like She-Hulk. I feel like
no. I put Secret Invasion below She-Hulk. I forgot She-Hulk.
Oh, definitely. No, I think I put Secret Invasion below.
It's at the bottom for me, I think. There's Moon Knight. No, I like Moon Knight. I like parts of She-Hulk.
I like most of them. I think Secret Invasion and Hawkeye were really ones I only didn't care for that much. All the other ones I liked.
Yeah, and it didn't have enough time, and I don't think Marvel had the it's going to be a lose either way. Secret Invasion conceptually probably should have been a movie because you need the budget to have those twists be more impactful.
Yeah. Also, you need to have a narrative that actually uses its premise well. Like use that paradigm, right? What are the effects? Because we're not. Watching,
it should be. Yeah,
we're not watching the MCU show to see the political state of the world. We're watching the MCU show to see how something like aliens would affect the characters that we already know and their dynamics. That's what makes it interesting. Yeah, that's what makes us invested. But you put this premise in the middle of a bunch of characters we don't know, it gives us no reason to care. Because why should we care about all these characters that you're introducing in an environment that's so geopolitical and spy heavy that we have no investment in this? The whole purpose of the Secret Invasion is to say that the things you think you know are not actually what you know, and the people you think you know are not actually who they are. And granted, we run into problems like the Rhodey thing, right? Like, let's say Rhodey has been not Rhodey since Civil War. Then, granted, in the comics, I'm sure something like that would have played well because it wasn't Jessica Drew in the comics. Not Jessica Drew for years, and like there's like a bunch of events. She was not actually her. So like, I feel like if you utilize the concept well, if you justify it within your narrative, then you can play it out and be like, damn, like that sucks. But like, they really flesh that out. They just did that for the sake of doing it rather than having it mean something. Which I think
Secret Invasion should have been like a paranoia it should have been thematically a psychological spy thriller, I think
It's not a spin-off
it
show. It's an event.
yeah, and so here's the caveat. Had it been a movie, they would have had the budget to get more actors in. So you could have had maybe Anthony Mackie, maybe a, if you want to be ballsy, a T'Challa, different Avenger, like Bruce. You could include Netflix people. You could do like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, like you said. Or you said Jessica Drew, but it's like Jessica Jones could be one. It's like you could do weird, unexpected shit that would really get people in there. You know, you could be like, oh shit, you know, this Daredevil might not be the old Daredevil. Like, you don't know who to trust.
Right.
So you could do, you know, it's like you could do Nick. It could be like globe trotting. Yeah, but the caveat is you have to sacrifice um because it should be a longer narrative to make you as a watcher paranoid. I'm not saying that's hard to accomplish in a film because movies do it, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You got movies doing that all the time, but you would sacrifice that length of investment.
Okay, let me just pitch this.
And the thing is that
a better paranoid thriller, right? Let's say that like,
yeah.
one of the Avengers we know finds out something about the state of what's actually going on with the world. That Avenger tries to get information to the other Avengers, gets murdered. The world and the Avengers are shocked by that Avenger's murder and try to figure out what's going on. And in the midst of that, discover the scrolls and then realize that they've been invaded themselves. That really creates paranoia amongst the people we already know while uncovering how deep does this actually go.
So it should be more like The Thing.
Sure. I haven't seen The Thing.
I mean, it's a great movie, but it's like, it's a bunch of explorers in the Arctic. An alien shapeshifter invades. They can masquerade as people, and so little by little they get picked off and have to figure out who's the alien and stop it.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you have to be ballsy and be willing to kill some Avengers in that scenario, but I think that
and that's the. I mean, it's gonna sound bad, but if you want to do it and pass the torch, especially with what's going on recently with his health.
Hawkeye?
Kill Hawkeye.
I was gonna say Hawkeye too. You got to kill Jeremy.
That would actually be a bit of a hit, especially after he just had his show, where it's like, oh, he gets this happy ending, things like that, and he was a spy for S.H.I.E.L.D. But and we just got news recently that he's walking without a cane. I'm so happy that Jeremy Renner's making an improved recovery. I could give two shits whether he comes back to film. I just want to make sure the actor is okay. Mm-hmm. Like, I just want people to be safe and all right. So I'm glad that he's making a positive recovery. Same for Jamie Foxx, by the way. We'll get into that. Yeah. But no, and that would be Secret Invasion could kind of be your tentpole event from the transition of the old MCU, the Infinity Saga, to the Multiverse Saga, where the only ones that'd be less of the old five that are active would be Bruce.
Yeah.
And then you can do Bruce's movie, World War Hulk, She-Hulk, all that other shit. But that's like he lost his love. One of his friends is dead. Another one, God knows where he is. He's either on the moon or some shit. And the only one he could have some possible contact with is like Hawkeye, who was there with him during the Battle of New York. And it's like you could do like if it's Fury, Banner, and Clint, that could actually be a pretty interesting narrative. And then you fold in the other people, especially because like Bruce and Clint have kind of been in the background of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's I think should have been your team, because like Clint has a relationship with Fury. Now, granted, again, this isn't an ideal world where Jeremy Renner didn't have the terrible accident that he had, but it's like I think that as a movie would have held a little more power. And then you go into the Marvels as a palate cleanser once everything's okay, and you can introduce, imagine Clint finding out Fury has a wife and shit like that. Like you could have made this a anxiety inducing psychological beat about two, if it's just Clint, let's say it's Clint and Fury and Talos, two humans and an alien trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the world.
That'd be cool. I'm into it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like that, but this series, it just, and I hate it because it does have really good actors. Which I think the only, who plays Daenerys again? What's her name?
Oh, Amelia Clark.
Yeah, it's a shame that like I'm glad Amelia Clark had a positive experience with Marvel. Um, Allegedly that's what she said in interviews. I just hate that they didn't give her much to do. I'm disappointed that like this is the I think the first time I was watching a show in her final battle with Gravik where I'm like, oh, big CGI fight.
Yeah, and then that
And I was
doesn't
just
make
like,
sense because he has extremis, so she'd be able to heal anyway. So it's kind of like, I guess he's dead. Like the power of whatever the fuck Captain Marvel's
the power of Marvel
overrides
compels you.
extremis.
Yeah, so it's like what, and there's an easy write around for it, and there's an easy way to write themselves. It's easy, it's dumb, but it's easy. Where it's like, oh, the powers that they collect as Super Scrolls haven't been like they haven't fully figured out the science, so it actually has a temporary effect. So it can only last like a certain amount of time, or it could be like you can only use like 4 at a time and set up Clert, the actual Super Scroll later, where they like improve the tech or something. But he can't transform.
I wonder why they didn't put him in the show. I'm fascinated
because they're probably for Fantastic Four stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't know. Is there much else to say about it? It's good actors, but poor writing, which is a shame because it's the first 2 episodes I think were legitimately interesting. It's just also shout out to Kobe Smulders just getting checks for not appearing in episodes right after she died. Right. Did you keep seeing her name in the? It's like
special guest. I'm like, no, she wasn't.
Special guest Kobe Smulders. I'm like, where the hell did she appear in the episode?
Right. Was she in the recap? Like, I didn't see her in the flashback, nothing.
And I thought they were gonna. I'm surprised they doubled down on it. I thought they were gonna retcon that and be like, oh, it was a scroll as Maria. But then you get to the end, I'm like, oh, she died for nothing. Oh,
yeah.
Fury got his beautiful scroll queen and went to the stars again, like he started. And I guess it was supposed to be like a mirroring thing. I'm just like.
You know, a small thing that bothered me, I guess is more of a nitpick. Why were the Skrulls always in human form, even when they were alone, talking to each other? That shit didn't make sense to me.
The budget is why.
I know the external reason, but in story, I'm just like,
I don't, maybe.
And you would think, so doesn't that take like a lot of energy or like something for you to be able to maintain that form? Also, don't you think there should be a way where Skrulls can tell who's a Skrull?
To be fair, in the thing, the only way you can tell is they have to light the blood on fire.
Oh.
So the difference is like the Skrulls bleed purple. But again, I don't think it's not only not having that they didn't have a because like in the thing there's a tell. Now you have to bleed and they test your blood, they throw a match, and if it like and then it's like, oh shit, then you're the alien. But they didn't have anything like that for the Skrulls other than the fact that they bleed purple.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. There should have been a mechanism introduced for that. And then just what the president does. God damn it.
So dumb.
Oh my God. That was legitimately bad. Where it's just like, you know, if you're an alien, we're gonna find you and you're dead meat, pal. I'm like, and then Fury goes like, you know, that's one-term behavior there, brother. And it's like, yes, we know Harrison Ford is going to be President Ross, which
that's sad that we know that. He's going to be president in the next one. That's right. I forgot.
But like, that was just bad. Here's the thing: if you have, and they show the problem is they show the ramifications of it in the series and why it was dumb. So I'm hoping they have an interesting payoff. But it's like, oh, the aliens that can shapeshift are gonna shapeshift to look like anybody. And the aliens that shapeshifted to get into world political power will probably just do it again, become the president, and say, I'll walk that shit back. Like, you don't think this won't have ramifications? How? And because they didn't introduce a way to tell that they're Skrulls other than killing them or chopping off their limbs, you wrote yourself into a corner in a silly way.
They did.
and just made the president basically an irredeemable xenophobe. Also, he said aliens, not scrolls. It's different if he said scrolls. He said
All
aliens.
aliens.
So, bitch, and you know what that includes? The fucking Asgardians.
Yep. Well, I
And
think
I didn't think about that till I was
he's the
listening to a
president
review. It's
of
like,
America, and the Asgardians are in fucking Norway. So I don't think this is a global thing. This is all in America.
isn't New Asgard in like Jersey?
No, in the comics, but in the movies they're in Norway.
Oh no, it's in. Is it?
Yeah,
Norway?
because they say it in the movie because they have to take like a.
I thought it was
plane.
in the. I thought it was in like Kentucky or
Not
something.
in the comics, but in the movies they're in Norway because Norse.
I mean that would make sense, but you know, okay, you're right. It is in Norway. Damn, they made that shit seem a lot closer. Okay. So yeah, because in the comics it's in like Connecticut or some shit.
Right. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that the whole show is dumb, and I think that they can find a way. It is. The whole show is fucking dumb, and I hope they can find a way
a shame.
to. I don't know if retcon it because like we don't know what the effect of the show is going to be because the show literally almost basically ends how it starts. Fury.
Yeah, but not in like a interesting way.
Not in an interesting way. No, it shakes things up, but in a way that's easily avoidable, as opposed to what happened in Winter Soldier, where it has ramifications for the universe. Granted, could this have ramifications for the universe? Sure, but you know they're about to deal with multiverse and Kang and shit, so this can easily just be written off as like something that's not really relevant.
Oh yeah, we got a Loki trailer. I don't feel an inclination to talk much about it. It comes out in a couple months. Cool. It looks good.
I liked it.
It's a really well edited trailer. I think it legitimately looks very good and looks very interesting. Props to the people that did the trailer for that. I enjoyed the sound editing and stuff like that. Do we want to talk about the other clone thing and then get into a couple more meats and potatoes? Yes. So the clone Tyrone finally came out 7 months later on Netflix. Believe we both, because it was supposed to come out New Year's.
Was it really?
Oh
yeah. Wow, I didn't realize.
Yeah, because I was following it for a while. I'm like, damn, this is a lot of people that I like. It's a very good movie. But goddamn, Boyega fucking kills it as Fontaine and Tyra and everyone else. You know, I guess full spoilers, but it's a great movie. It's a really good movie. It's funny. The way this is like the year of black writers doing interesting, weird shit. Because we have The Blackening, we have I'm a Virgo, which I do need your opinion on whenever you get the because that's a watch.
Ooh, okay, maybe we'll watch it today. Is
I'm a Virgo. Weirder? We got Swarm.
Is I'm a Virgo weirder than Sorry to Bother You?
I don't think anything is weirder than Sorry to Bother You. It's weird, but no, it's not. All I'll say is that's one of the longest sex scenes I've ever fucking seen.
What?
Like it keeps cutting back to it. I'm not gonna give you context. You will have to see it because it's just like, okay, all right, but that TV show needs like a dissertation, several dissertations, because it's a lot that happens for 7 episodes that are only like 30-40 minutes. There's a lot of shit to like. Yeah, it's like a super onion with the layers. But yeah, we have those, and now we have They Clone Tyrone. We're having a little bit of a renaissance of like black creatives doing interesting narrative pieces, just about like race and existence. You know, I'd put Swarm in that listing too. Yep. In a way, it's just like how like certain factors intersect from both like a intra and interracial perspective. But overall, no, I thought it's a strong cast. It has an interesting twist to it. The whole when you figure out who Tyrone is, I think that might have been one of the funniest sort of jokes of the movie.
Yeah.
It was like a joke, but not a joke. When it's like, "Hey Tyrone, ain't that you?" I'm like, "Oh god damn!" Whole time I'm sitting here, I'm
Who
like,
the fuck
"Who
is
the?" I'm like,
Tyrone?
they calling him Fontaine. Who the fuck is Tyrone?
Literally the very last scene of the movie, the title makes sense. You're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and getting Erica Badu to do a remix of they called. I got to tell you, they clone Tyrone. Cloned him.
That was awesome. That was hilarious.
No, but it's a good movie. Jamie Foxx is really good. Teyonah Parris is great.
Yeah, I thought all the performers were good. Did you see that little interview that John Boyega did of him and Fontaine?
I saw a little bit. God damn,
he's so good.
He's like unrecognizable as Fontaine.
Mannerism was
like
great.
it was weird.
Yeah, like this
because like usually with like it was some Damson Idris. Like, have you seen any of Damson Idris's Snowfall? I need to watch the show.
I've seen the clips.
But I've seen clips. It's like that,
right?
Because I'm like, you couldn't tell me that Damson Idris wasn't from like East Atlanta,
right?
And so, but like, people have been saying, they're like, look, if you need a new Kang,
listen, I would not be mad.
I hate that we're not touching on any of the major stuff, mostly because that trial hasn't happened yet. We're still waiting for news. Some Lizzo bullshit going on, but I don't feel like talking about it.
Right.
But God, but when I heard that pitch, I'm like, now I can be a little weary about like recast, but if anyone could do Kang as a Boyega would be the one.
Eat it, bro. Munching, fucking. Oh,
I've always known he was good. But there's a difference between like him doing a American accent in Star Wars. He's definitely grown a lot as an actor, and I didn't see him in Detroit. I liked him in The Woman King. Actually,
he's great in Woman King. I haven't seen him in Breaking either.
I need to see some of his other stuff. But him as Fontaine was like, he was a completely different person.
Yeah, he became that dude for real.
There's a couple like when we get into op and everything, talking about performances. Like I personally would not be opposed to him getting Best Actor nom for this.
No, he did great
performance wise. I'm like, as we're talking about it, I would have it was a more active thing when I was watching Oppenheimer, but in us discussing this, I am perfectly comfortable with Boyega getting an actor nom for this, just because what he had to do is like, yeah, the premise of the script isn't lengthwise as demanding as like an Oppenheimer. It's not this big spectacle movie, but culturally, what he gets, he fucking nails. Like nuance, nuance of performance, attitude, body language, shit like that. And to make it distinct between him, somebody from because Tyrone was like Southeast LA, wasn't
yeah. They didn't say specifically, but you can tell.
But you can tell by the palm trees, bad bitches,
right.
and wannabes,
and
like
the
that.
Look, too,
and then the other,
he had the cornrows and like the jersey and stuff. I was just like, they made an interesting distinction about like niggas in different regions based off the attire.
Right, and they didn't specifically say where this was located in America, but it did give kind of like Atlanta vibe.
What it is
though. I don't think it's a real. I think it's kind of it could be any hood.
Okay.
So it's just like, oh, the Glen. But my initial thought was like Glenwood.
Yeah, they didn't specify, but it's weird because
they didn't specify, and I think that was part of the point.
Did you also get the sense that this movie was like ambiguous with like what time period it took place in?
Yeah, it was that as well, because like the cars and the radios and the TVs, but the tech too was like,
right. Like sometimes I'm ambiguous. Like, I think they have cell phones, but I can't tell if it's like I think I saw one person have a flip phone, but I couldn't tell if someone had a
Yeah, like
smartphone. And the way the news radio was like, news was laid out, it was like kind of old, like 70s or 80s.
But like, and by the end, you know, it's a worldwide phenomena, so it like seems sort of modern, but kind of not. Like, it skirts it really well, where it's very hard to tell. Oh no, it's just a pretty damn good movie. It's a fun movie. I didn't have as many laugh out louds as I think other reviewers and people have kind of had with it, but I do wish more people were talking about it because it's a very good movie.
So like, what's that? I'm trying to remember, like, where they were trying to like gentrify America. Was that their whole thing, or like they're trying to slowly replace?
They were
with white people over
so
generations.
I think they were trying to find in a way, eliminate blackness to make this perfect American that has, I guess the best way to say it is like, everybody want to be black, but don't nobody want to be black. So they're trying to make this like, you know how like the Kardashians have a tendency to appropriate things of black culture, but still maintain the safety and veneer of whiteness. That is the type of American I think they were trying to create. And where they were struggling is they could make this like, they could make a bunch of logics, but they'd all have afros. They couldn't figure out our hair texture, and that was where they struggled. And that's why, like, in the Tubes, you could see it progress from like this really dark-skinned black guy to this really pale white guy. And they're trying to make this perfect American that's also like complacent, vaguely racially ambiguous, enough that they're not white, but there's something about them, you know? Or it's like the hair is curly, but not too kinky. The skin is like, isn't pale, but not too dark. Like, so like,
right, trying to find the Goldilocks.
They're trying to, and they want to, you know, take black people and turn them into these Goldilocks Negroes. And by studying and creating these like fringe capsules of like clone cities, you know, they can study us, figure us out, keep us in like kind of a loop of just like, you know, how the system at bay controls a lot of communities to keep them in a perpetual negative feedback loop, which is how a lot of hoods be.
The thing I didn't get was like, okay, how are some people freaked out about the fact that Fontaine's alive, but other people are not?
You're talking about like the homeless dude?
Tripped about it. Like the homeless dude, okay, so like Jamie Foxx's character, he's like, I saw you die, and he was freaked out.
I would be too, nigga, you were dead.
Right, but like the gangsters were tripped out or anything by the fact that Fontaine was dead and nobody else was. And it was just like, I don't know.
Wait a second, you might be onto something, because now that makes me wonder,
I think there's some inconsistencies with the movie.
Hold on, because given the theme of the movie, now you have to, and they are gangsters. Now, this isn't in the subtext, this is me being purely conspiracy brain. There's a possibility that they are dead too, and that those are clones meeting Fontaine again, and all they have is the memories that they were given. Now, if it is the same dudes, then yes, that is a plot hole. Because they definitely shot him, they blew him to smithereens. But but there's also an equal possibility, because when they were down there, they saw a lot of different clones of people they knew. Like, there are a shit ton of clones of people they knew down there. So it's equally as possible that they got killed by somebody else, because it's a tough neighborhood, and these are their clones meeting another new clone, so they don't remember killing him.
Yeah. If everything like kind of resets, I guess, in a way. My only I wonder how Tiana
Paris.
Tiana Paris. I can't remember her character's name. Was it Coco or was it something?
God damn, I'm forgetting. Just had it.
I wonder why she was the only one that wasn't a clone out of everybody.
She was pretty smart. That's a good question.
You're like, oh fuck, Jamie Foxx is a clone too.
Yeah, her and Jamie Foxx. Oh no, Jamie Foxx did have a clone, didn't he?
Yeah, because like he stood still when they said like the word, like the freeze word.
And she was one that, God damn, she's so.
I was just like, why didn't you just say the word again?
Well, no, that's what I was thinking too. But then it came back around at the end.
Yeah, but just like you see all these clones breaking the facility, just say the word, just say it over the
Yeah.
loudspeaker, and like
Yo,
that's
that was her name.
I don't know. I liked the movie. I didn't love the movie.
Yeah,
I appreciated its style and its humor,
yeah.
but I think that some of the inconsistencies made it not work for me as
I
well.
like the
But
style and
I
the
still had fun with it.
performances, and I quite like the climax. I think it might lull a little bit near the middle. I think that's also part of the point, but it does kind of lull just a wee bit. But the performances, I think, it seems like they're having a lot of fun. Overall, it's like it's not the tightest script in the universe, but I'm able to get it. I'm able to pick up on it. Like I can get the themes in this better than I can I'm a Virgo, only because I'm a Virgo is so damn dense. And once you see it, you'll understand what I mean, only because it's like in that show, it's like everything means something.
Damn.
But it's
yeah, Bruce really went in.
yeah, I mean, there's parts where they just
like
lay it on the glass. It's like, look, this is the message of the episode here. And that happens several times where you just get a monologue about something. And I'm just like, I mean, if anyone's gonna do it, but no, I still quite enjoyed they clone Tyrone. I think it's good. I think it's worthy of a couple. I think everyone should check it out, give it a chance. But performance wise, it's really good. It's really damn good.
Yeah. Quick question: did you ever see that movie Blind Spotting?
No, I wanted to because the one with Daveed Diggs.
Oh,
I really wanted.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to see
that.
it. Because I heard good things from the movie and better things about the show.
The two, yeah, I still have not seen the show. I want to so bad, but yeah, the two movies I need you to watch because I need your opinion on them are Blind Spotting and The Last Black Man.
God
in San Francisco.
Damn it! Because you sent it to me. I have it. I have the damn movie, and I just haven't sat down to finish it. I got like 20 minutes in and then start doing other shit. It's not even a bad movie by any means. It's not boring. I'm just an asshole. Jesus Christ. Like, here's the thing. I agree with you. It's just like, damn. Like, yeah, I do need to watch that, and I do need to watch Blind Spotting. Those are points on the list. Actually, there is something that maybe I'll have you help me with this. There's I'm working on while we get into the next topic, the strikes. There's a short based off a short story by Derek Bell, who in his book Faces at the Bottom of the Well, called The Space Traders. And the premise is that aliens come to Earth and offer to exchange like medicine and a bunch of medicine, a shit ton of gold, and a bunch of other resources to America in exchange for all of their black people, and how that unfolds. And I haven't read the story, but I just got a copy of Phase at the Bottom of Well on the PDF, and I'm thinking about doing a video about it because it's in a anthology movie called Cosmic Slop from the 90s, and I found Space Traders on YouTube. And yeah, it ended exactly how I thought it would.
So this was written in the 90s? The story?
The story, I believe, is from the 80s. No, I think it is the early 90s. And then the movie that adapted it is also from the later 90s, I think.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen either. So
I didn't hear about it until this past week, because it's just from a TikTok that like passed my feed. But yeah, is it 1992 is when Faces came out, and then Cosmic Slop I think was like 94, 95. So Reginald Hudlin. But yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the next thing to talk about, one of our bigger topics, and it's been one that's been going on for a while, and we really need to discuss it. The strikes. So in the last couple months, we have had initially the WGA Writers Guild of America strike back in, was it April?
Something like that. It's been about 3 months.
And then was it 2 weeks ago? 2-3 weeks ago, I believe, was when the WGA. It was definitely July, July, July. The SAG-AFTRA strikes have also been going on. So basically, Hollywood is a little dead at the moment. All of your favorite movies and franchises aren't working, except for like a select, like 16 got a pass from the
Like
SAG
that.
Guild, a couple indie
And
projects. It's a lot of A24 stuff.
yeah, it's ones. A lot of A24. I know Anne Hathaway's making a movie
Paul
right
Rudd and
now.
Jenna Ortega are working on something too. Mhm.
Really? Oh wow. Okay,
But I think
interesting. So they stopped
I
doing
think they're
Beetle
both for
and now
A24.
doing that.
But yeah, I mean, as somebody that also acts at times, and loves writing, and wants to dig a little bit more into wants to take more opportunities to act into screenwriting, things like that. Yeah, I support these strikes. Obviously I do. The things they're asking for are not that astronomical, but we know why they're so resistant to give them. It's so much
Yeah, and the
bullshit.
producer
Oh my
over
god. uh
that.
Especially with the AI stuff, that's just gross on both fronts, because it impacts both writers and actors. Because for writers, they're going to want to AI write the scripts, and you're going to get a bunch of bullshit out of it. I'm not saying that it can't be decent to passable. The problem is AI is built off an approximation of things that are already existing. That's what it ultimately boils down
Right.
to.
You can have a heart or a soul to infuse into the whatever
It
it's
doesn't have the
producing.
heart.
So it's going to
It
come
doesn't
off
have the
like
heart, the soul, the creativity, because it is merely an aggregate. It's throwing a bunch of adjacent shit in a blender. So you could have something that's actually not that bad, but you're still gonna need script editors. You're not gonna
right.
be able to get like we're talking about, they clone Tyrone. You could tell a fair amount of that was improv. You're not gonna get the
Mm-hmm.
same quality of that entertainment that can come about from the human experience, or just people being on set, especially if you have somebody adhering strictly to a script. And what makes it also bad on the acting front is because they want to offer money to people that also want to break into the industry and be like even starting out background actors. But it's like, oh, we'll scan your face, we'll send you a couple $1,000, and we get to use your face till the end of the time. Which was also part of the plot. Both of these issues were major plots in Joan is Awful, the first episode of the newest season of Black Mirror. So,
Oh, still haven't seen it, but I know it has something to do with technology.
I need you to at least watch that one, just because it dropped like a week and a half before all of this shit happened. And so,
Mm.
and when we got greater understanding of the demand, it's like, oh Jesus, Charlie predicted it again, and he didn't even know, because he shot and edited this like a year ago or so, at the least. Dude can always tell when the writing's on the wall. So it's
Man.
like, at the latest, this was done like probably earlier this year. And the fact that it's so spot on to the future that could be created, and even the fact that Netflix is poking fun at itself on the show, it's when you watch it in Black Mirror before everything happens, it's like, oh, haha, that's funny, that's so silly. Who would? But it's also like warning about like what you sign away when you sign on into these like contracts with for Netflix or Max or these streaming services, like that just give away the rights to my face and things like that. But as a performer, as a creative, like I fully support these strikes, but they're not asking for. Let me see if I can pull up what the because I want to get your opinion
I
on
will.
things too.
Okay. Yeah, I think that all the things they're asking for are reasonable because the landscape of how media is consumed has changed so much in the last 10 years, and it's been the entire history of
Mm.
television and entertainment. So we have to create new rules and new agreements to accommodate these new changes, like residuals, for example, for the
Right.
actors. They were going by the old system where like things were originally went on TV and then they were sold and like reruns, and because there were reruns, the actors would get residuals of that. But the nature of streaming doesn't exactly allow for those same rules to apply. So I think they need to accommodate for that change because one, it's not fair that they went from making like $2,000+ getting those checks to making like 4-cent
Sorry, I know
checks
you
of
see me making a. I apologize for interrupting you. I want to let you continue. The reason I'm making a face is I was pulling up their various strike requests, and I happened upon an article from Gizmodo that says SAG-AFTRA's rejected contract demands seem beyond reasonable. And it's like, I think I misread that. I thought it said beyond unreasonable. It's like, it's like, yeah, it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead with what you were saying. I apologize.
No, you're good. I guess I was talking about how the rules need to change, and something I didn't know before the strike stuff started happening is that Fran Drescher's the president of SAG-AFTRA.
I found that out from like Philip DeFranco. I'm just like, oh girl, how long has this been going on?
Right, exactly. And I think the writers, as of recording this now, the writers about to renegotiate with the producers, which is which I'm glad about, because the producers and the studios are about to pull some real fuckery. Like, we're just gonna, what do they say? They're gonna like drown them out. Like, we're just gonna hold this out until they can't afford to pay their rent and their houses anymore. I'm like, you nefarious
like
bastards.
Allegedly, it was Iger that said that too.
Super villain shit. We said
allegedly,
Iger said that?
It was Iger that said that. And because did you see the Ron Perlman video? Where he made a not so vague threat to whoever made that comment. So I'm just like, yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the end of a pissed off Ron Perlman either. But
right.
But yeah, it's some bullshit. Like the writers aren't asking for much. They're asking for, like you said, minimum compensation in all areas of media, increased residuals, appropriate TV series writing compensation from pre to post production, increased contributions to pension and health plans, strengthening professional standards, and the overall protections for writers, and a couple other things. Which is not too crazy. And then the actors, which about a couple weeks ago they got the AMPTP, who I'm trying to see who that is. It's essentially the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. So they're the ones who they're having to kind of go up against. You can find the SAG doc, but just gonna try to breeze through it real quick. 11% general wage. This is SAG-AFTRA. 11% general wage increase in year 1, 4% in year 2, 4% in year 3, without inflation adjusted year 1. New media revenue sharing, wage invasion due to advanced payment of residuals, per diem, schedule breaks, increased minimum. It's a lot of increase of minimum payments. They also have things for singers, dancers, major role performers. God, and the AMPTP rejected a lot of this. Relocation allowance, time span. They also have things for wardrobe, fittings, looping, retakes, added scenes. They have basic respect and fairness for background actors. Casting and self-tape auditions, shit like that. Performers should not be required to pay for access to employment opportunities, nor provided preferential treatment in exchange for fees to a casting play. Thank you. God damn it. That's one of their proposals, by the way. They had some counters, self-tape auditions, establish minimum turnaround time for self-tape auditions, disclose of a limit number of pages for a first call. Yeah, so it's like a 12-page full doc of not only the proposals but also the AMPTP counters. Most of it got rejected as of July 13th because they just don't want to give up the goose. Like, I'm trying to remember who's. It's just a sorry ass sight to see. Because, like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, I hate the fact that a lot of films I consume and TV shows and things like that have had to halt production. But I would rather them halt it be for the right reason, and this is the right reason. I think people need to be, compensated and treated fairly. Also, this is just a minor political aside. There's something going on with like the equal rights things going on with women, and one of the amendments, I'd have to dig into it. One of our friends brought it to my attention. There's a whole separate thing going on with one of the. Is it the 23rd Amendment?
Is this in relation to the strikes or something?
This is completely separate. It just has something to do with like equal rights for women. I think is going up to the feds again. That's a whole separate thing, but yeah, people should support equal rights for everybody. But that is the theme of this part of the conversation. It's just like, no, people need to be.
Yeah, everybody's striking. Like everyone's calling for what they deserve. What they're entitled to. What they
Yeah,
equal rights that are long overdue.
Yeah, because like this whole time, my unaware brain, because I'm not in any of those unions, the average layman person's guess not only is that an actor would get a livable wage, but that they'd have pretty good residuals for like streaming, or like I was on a flight recently watching John Wick 3 and 4. You thinking they're getting paid for that? Now I know they probably aren't. But at the time, like before all of this, I probably would have guessed like, oh yeah, they'll probably get a little bit of kickback from the number of people that watch that. They don't. Writers that write on like streaming shows don't get the same residuals as like back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s for writers in syndication. I didn't even realize like the impact that the 08, I think it was 08. Was it 08? I think 2008 writer strike, I think. Had on entertainment was a lot bigger than we kind of give it credit for. You remember that weird time where there was a shit ton of live action shows and also a lot of bad movies? Like there was a lot, not live action, there were a lot of reality shows.
Oh yeah.
But that was when Cartoon Network had a lot of those live action shows. There were reality shows too. That was because of the writer's strike.
I remember that, but wasn't the writer's strike only like 3 months at that time?
It was the longest at the time. It was like a little, I think 112 days. It was a little over 100 days.
This one's so far longer, right?
It's about to be, I think. And this is the first time the writers and actors have both gone on strike at the same time in 50, 60 years. It's some wild shit. And man, this would be the optimal. I don't think they're going to ever get another chance like this in hell. VFX has got to unionize. They've got to. I love Spider-Verse.
Man, they're getting dogged.
I love Spider-Verse. It's probably my favorite movie of the year, although we'll probably talk about my second one later. I'm excited to see Ninja Turtles, but like visual effects, CGI, animators, all of those, they're not getting their proper due. That's why remember how we would complain about the quality of like visual effects in She-Hulk or times in Multiverse of Madness. And it's because like even the fact that Spider-Verse looks as good as it does and it was still rushed near the end of things is bonkers. Imagine if you just gave them time. Like VFX, you got to unionize. I don't know who needs to start what. I don't know who needs to shit kick. I know part of the issue is that a lot of VFX places are international, so that's why they have a bit of a harder time. They're not all domestic. But if it's like ILM, Sony visuals, things like that, y'all gotta. You're not gonna get a better chance. I'm sorry. You gotta hop on this. Like, this is shit that's killing the industry for the better, I would say, because you need to properly compensate these people's time, labor, and effort. Like, like what they're asking for an average person is not much. And even if you look at those at the top of the AMPTP, like those boards of like Viacom, Disney, Warner Brothers, Comcast, all that, like they're making dumb money every year. Like 200, I think it's 8 of them. What is it? 8?
Unfathomable about the
Say what?
I said unfathomable amounts of money.
Yeah, it's just absolutely bonkers. And like you look at, it's not even I don't even think it's their net worth. It's how much they make in terms of salary. It's crazy, And so it's like, I think in total, to accomplish what the WGA requested in full, outside of the AI thing, where it's just like you just need to just like stop being cheap jerks. But like I think in total it'd be 50 million for all the writers in the WGA to have like a relatively livable wage. 50 million for everyone that's WGA certified to have like a relatively livable wage for like California from across 8 people that each make, I think, up to, at minimum 100 to 250 million each. If it's like and you spent 50 million like 8 ways, like 4 million each, or not 4 million. God, my mouth is terrible on that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, fuck, man. They just gotta figure it out. They really just gotta like get their shit together because it's not right and it's not
No.
fair. And something another side kind of thing that's been affecting things with this strike is the people in the YouTube
Yeah,
space, and there's kind
the
of
creator
like
space
civil
is
war
having a
going on.
weird.
Because yeah, SAG is like putting these like requests and like demands on creators, and like I have personal friends who are in the YouTube
Right.
space who are really struggling and kind of panicking because they don't want to like overstep what SAG is trying to do, but they also need to like make money for themselves as well.
Yeah.
And they have people who are involved with their channels that are SAG, so they're trying to like find ways around
Yeah.
that. And I'm mainly talking about people in like the movie news space, or people in like the movie reviewing space, or like the reacting space.
Yeah.
Those people are really having a tough time because like they stopped covering content altogether.
Yeah.
Like Andre Black Nerd, he's not really covering. Hasn't touched the Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles movie, and like people like Heroes Reforged aren't talking about movies, aren't talking about
Movie Bob's in
new shows
solidarity.
that they're reacting to.
Mr. Beast, actually, I found out today in the news, he caught a stray because people thought he was, and we'll talk about Amel in a second. They thought it was scabbing because he has a role in the new Ninja Turtles, and he told people to go see it. But so here's the thing, too. Some people are worried about like instances of scabbing, and the thing is, the I think it was SAG already said that if you have a pre-existing contract that was made prior to the strikes, then you are allowed to fulfill your obligation. So he had it. So because he's in the movie, he's allowed to do that paid promotion to fulfill that contract because it occurred before that.
Mm-hmm.
That is different than apparently what Stephen Amell said while I was at GalaxyCon and had no idea, and it's been blowing up all over the news about him condemning.
Didn't all he say was that he doesn't support striking, but he stands with his brothers, or he stands with the people with his union? I could, unless there's like an elaborated version
so I'm
I didn't
pulling
hear,
it up.
but it doesn't seem like so
Yeah,
taboo
this
to
is from.
say. Like I understand if you don't support it, maybe you shouldn't say that in a public space.
And like this,
and because
sorry, go ahead.
No, like maybe you shouldn't say that in a public space for sure, but you know, I'm sure that just because you understand something doesn't mean you have to agree with the way it's being done about. And I think people should be entitled to their opinions, even though they don't necessarily agree with what's happening. And granted, I'm going based off of a small statement. Maybe there's like more to the story that I haven't heard about. But
and so
yeah, maybe this is affecting him financially in a way that we don't know, because he has to because maybe some people are put in a position like they do want rights for all their people, but they're also in a place where like it maybe messes them up financially. I can't speak to all actors, but
like, and I can see what you mean is like trying to hold space for a little bit of nuance. I'm pulling this up from Entertainment Weekly. Apparently, it was during his Q&A. So a fan asked him about the strike. He took a moment to make a statement in opposition to it while still emphasizing his support for the guild as a whole. So I support my union. I do, and I stand with them. I do not support striking. I don't. Let's see. I think that it is reductive. I think that it is a reductive negotiating tactic, and I find the entire thing incredibly frustrating. And I think that the thinking as it pertains to shows like the show that I'm on that premiered last night, I think it's myopic.
Myopic.
What is? Sorry, not the word myopic, but what is that? And I appreciate you trying to hold empathy and space for nuance. What would you want them to do? Would be my question. Like,
Yeah, do you ever know
Like
what?
I mean, if you
They tried negotiating, it didn't work.
right,
So now you got to strike. I'm not saying I agree with
no,
Stephen
no,
Amell. I'd say he's entitled
I'm
to an opinion. I think it was dumb to express on a public
especially because
platform.
like Galaxy. Let's
But
I can tell you from multiple experiences, GalaxyCon is not small by any fucking means. It's a big con. Like it's our entire convention center in Raleigh. So like it's nothing to snuff at. This is thousands of people that you're saying. That, like his line for him was pack the fuck out every day. Like hundreds of people waiting to meet this man. And so my thing is it's like I support my union, but I don't support the strike, and I feel like let me not misquote him here. So him saying that uh, I don't support striking. I think it's a reductive negotiating tactic. What else can they do other than like if you get paid to act? I think the most defiant thing you can do is to not act. Like yeah. I don't know what an alter which and I think that's maybe where people are perplexed is like, well, what would you rather have them do other than because like they're open to it'd be different if SAG-AFTRA and WGA is like, no, this is we're not open to negotiation. They are, but they have standards by which they want them to be met, and they're trying to find some room of amicability for what I would say is relatively reasonable in comparison to who they're asking it to. Because they're not asking it to like the people that watch the shows. They're not like, please, America, if you just give me $30, it's not a Patreon where it's like we need donations. I mean, there are donations to the union that can help out people that are struggling financially, but it's not like I'm not watching freaking Big Mouth and at the end it's like, oh, send us money so we can eat. No, these are like the AMPTP. These are the heads of all of the other ones, heads of directors, SAG-AFTRA, WGA. So these are the like company heads, and I'm not saying CEOs and CFOs and things like that don't do anything, but they have all the cards. They get the final say as to what does and doesn't happen. There's a long history of a lot of Batgirl, best example, corporate interference because they said, kill it. Just kill. That's how powerful and swift it is. You don't have, fucking Thanos snapped that movie into dust and ashes. We're still talking about it because it was such a WTF moment of just like, oh my God, that's a lot of power. Where it's just like, oh, that's done. Let me just like snuff that movie out.
Right, they filmed it. Right. We may never see it.
We probably won't. It's a shame, but it is what it is. But like I'm sorry, Stephen, I don't. What would you recommend that your brothers and sisters in the union do? I don't. And I get it. Like that's a question at a con, and it's on the spot and shit like that. So you're like on stage, but what other solution is there other than like begging, which would just be humiliating? Like,
they tried negotiating. Now what?
Like if all you can do is like this is the most civil thing you can do is protest. Like they're not throwing bricks and windows. Do you want them to get violent? Is that the solution? You want them to like break into Bob Iger's or David Zaslav's house or whoever runs Paramount? Like,
no, they're trying to show a stand that this is important.
Yeah.
And I think there's nuance to it for sure because the thing is like, do these actors and do these writers need rights? Of course they do. Obviously they need to be properly compensated. They need to be treated fairly. And I can't speak to the degree of actors, but I have to imagine most actors don't want their likeness and voice to be used in the digital form.
The only one I know of right now is Vader. James Earl Jones is, I think, the only one who's consented, and I think his family and him are supposed to get residuals should they use it.
I think the other people I feel bad for are the people that aren't part of either union, that's jobs are on the line or on hold
Yeah.
because of the unions on strike. But I imagine they're probably in solidarity with those people
Yeah.
as well. I just kind of feel guilty for them, like the gaffers and the PAs, and like what if that's like they're just like struggling, that's their main form of income, but like they're not there yet because without the actors, there's no movies being made. Without movies being made, they're not getting work, so then they can't pay their bills. But granted, the actors can't pay their bills either. So
Right, because I mean,
yeah.
they're actors all across the spectrum of like knowledge. Like you have CW TV show mainstays, and then like um who's old boy from Breaking Bad?
Breaking not Jesse James. What's his name?
No,
Aaron
not
Paul?
Aaron Paul, the guy that played Walter.
Bryan
Yeah.
Cranston?
Bryan Cranston, like speaking out. Like this is something that's gone from the smallest to the biggest names in the industry. Especially
Yeah.
for those that dabble in both, like Quinta Brunson, who's a writer and an actor. So this hits her at double, and this was before she was out there on the front lines like day 2 with her sign and everything, because like not only is she like she's creator, writer, lead actress on her own show. And so while I'm sure she probably doesn't get like a double compensation for that, even though that's double effort. Like not only do you have to write, then you gotta perform what you write. Like that's no small we've made YouTube videos, that's no small feat. You gotta write the shit, then you gotta do it. And then sometimes if you're editing, you gotta edit too.
Yeah, it's not an easy feat.
So I don't know what Steven wants them to do, but I do, even though I'm not in either of the unions for a myriad of reasons, mostly because I can't afford those dues and I don't work enough to afford those dues.
Are they like $3,000, $4,000 to
I think
get
so,
in the SAG?
like annually. Which I mean, like
a used car, you have to pay a used car to get all these.
I think that's annually, and it's like on the surface that would not be the worst, but you also got to think about a lot of these actors are in Cali, and a fair amount are in LA in particular. So it's like you got cost of living and your dues. So it's like you break that down month to month, it's a couple hundred, but that's still a couple hundred. Like, I'm working on some something for my own personal career aspirations right now, as far as like my day-to-day shit. I had to drop 238. You think I was happy about that? No, bro, I was pissed.
Sure. Of course
and
not.
I gotta drop like for like some certificates and shit, I gotta drop another like 40, 50. I'm like, god damn, bro. Like, where is this money going? Shit, I gotta see if I got a union. I think I do, actually. I'm not a part of it. But I don't know, any last words about this bit before we hop over to the Oppie way?
To the Barbenheimer. No, I think we've kind of said it all. I think we kind of made our positions pretty clear. We support both strikes. Stephen Amell should definitely probably clear up. Like, what you mean by that?
He's just probably reflecting on it. Like, I get you're frustrated that you can't promote your show, but no one else can either. Like, it's not just you, bro. You're not the only one that can't promote things that are happening with their career. It's not only impacting you. I'm sure everyone else is also a little upset, but I'd be more upset if I'm not getting paid my dues for my effort. But yeah, let's talk about. Okay, so I guess as we get into Oppenheimer, did you do the Barbenheimer at all, or did you?
I didn't watch them both on the same day. I thought about it, but after I saw Barbie, I was like, I know, because I saw it after work. I saw it. I got off work at 3. I saw Barbie at 4, and contemplated going to like an 8 p.m. showing, but I was like, nah, I gotta go work in the morning. I'm gonna fall asleep. So I ended up seeing it on Saturday at like 10:30 in the morning because I really wanted to see it in IMAX because I heard that's the way to see it. And it's crazy because apparently Nolan's like, you need to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, and there's only like two
Get the
in
fuck
Los
out of
Angeles.
that bullshit.
Right. So, motherfuckers, my friends, some friends of mine, tried to book tickets to see it in 70 millimeter, how Nolan intended, and this is just City Walk. These motherfuckers couldn't get tickets until the 15th of August. So in another 2 weeks. I can't say
shit because so it dropped while I was the Barbenheimer dropped while I was on vacation, so I had to see it the week after, which was last Sunday. So I was also and so I guess we had a little bit of a inverted experience because you saw it across 2 different days, at different times. My morning started at 10 a.m. My night ended at 7. I didn't do them back to back. We had a couple hour gap. But I saw one we were at an AMC. That's where we said, so 10 a.m., we're watching Oppenheimer. And then as we get into Barbie, we saw Barbie at the Alamo Draft House that we got here at 4:30. But Oppenheimer, what to say about this movie? Because I went in honestly thinking I wasn't gonna like it. I'm gonna keep it real. Nolan had way more work to do than Greta Gerwig did going into this. I was talking with one of our, I guess now mutual friends, Nina, we were just talking about Nolan and everything, and just I think part of my issue with Nolan, and it's even something I've expressed to you, is all his endings are so dour, and he has a very pretentious air to him. He's a little sanctimonious. He's a little sanctimonious in terms of just oh, you have to experience this movie this way. It's don't tell me how to fuck to watch my films, bro. It's or just gassing up the fact it's oh, I did this explosion entirely practical effects. He's a big stickler for his practicals, and again, it's and production wise, it is an accomplishment, and I can't take that away from him. All of that so it's my opinion of Nolan as a personality versus as a director, I think, are in different places. I think he is a genuine auteur when it comes to his craft as a director. He has a very good eye for detail. I do have some criticisms of this movie, but he's good at in terms of picking talent, utilizing visual effects, utilizing practical effects, keeping you engaged for the most part, of the 5, maybe 6 Nolan movies I've seen. I can't say I've been bored by any of them. I've had criticisms of them, and I have a handful here, but ultimately I came out very, very much liking the movie. I actually really, really enjoyed this film. That is to say, as we were driving back in the car, my friend was like, "Oh, would you ever watch again?" I'm like, "Hell no." Not it, and I was thinking about it again today. I'm like, okay, not for a long time. I'm realizing for me, the quality of a movie, it has partially to do with rewatchability, because I'm not one to really rewatch movies unless I really, really like them. And so Barbie is one I would definitely rewatch. This one, I'm good for a long, long while, unless I'm with friends.
Right. There's not exactly joy in
no. Hell no, there isn't. But again, it's I don't want this to seem like I'm bashing the movie. I actually came out quite enjoying the movie. I was engaged throughout. Cillian Murphy is fucking fantastic. If he doesn't get Best Actor nom either, I would be astonished. I would legitimately be surprised. He does an incredible job, as well as the rest of this completely random ass cast. The cast is not bad. There's just a bunch of people in here where you're just what the hell are you doing here? God bless them.
Right.
Get your money. Hey, working on a Nolan project, that's going to be on your resume forever. But again, we're going to go spoilers. Josh Peck. He had 3 lines.
Josh Peck is in here. Matthew Modine is in here. Rami Malek was in this bitch.
Who's your girl? Because she had a pretty decent role. Florence Pugh. I was so half the movie, I'm watching. I'm
Florence Pugh titty for no reason.
Half the movie, I'm just squinting. Is is that what David Dastmalchian was in here? I'm just like, the fuck is
right?
Like, again, they're all good actors. They're used well.
Casey Affleck was in here.
Like, there are people in here that I didn't even know were in here. Who was
Han Solo Jr. was in here.
Right. He was who played the president? Who played Truman?
Gary Oldman was in here.
Fucking snuck his ass in, and I had no clue it was him. Right. People were like, "Oh, Gary Oldman was so good in the movie." I'm like, "Who the fuck was he?" It was like he was President Truman. I'm like, "No, he does it again."
I recognize him. I was just like, "What the fuck was Gary Oldman doing?"
I didn't know it was him. But Oldman does it again. Puts on his little disguise. Starts walking a little bit and get this sissy out of here. We don't need any weaklings in. I'm like, God damn.
Right. I'm like, damn. Okay.
No, the performances in this movie were phenomenal, top to bottom. Killian
Huey was in this shit?
Yeah, he was. Fucking Huey. What? Every time somebody showed up, I'm like, I know you. What are you doing here? Josh Peck, I think, was just the biggest one. Because the whole time I'm like, is he going to say something? He's over here in the background just like scribbling shit, just like nodding, scribbling shit down. And then he was the one that had to...
What's his name? Benny... the dude from Good Time. Benny Safdie was in here.
People really actually like Benny Safdie as he was Teller.
He was good.
Benny Safdie was really good. Emily Blunt was great.
I never expected to see a Nolan film with nudity, let alone Florence Pugh nudity, and a lot of it.
The way the nudity was used. Here's the thing. This movie had like a couple funny moments, which is really odd because Nolan's not known for like humor.
Yeah, I mean he has some funny moments in The Dark Knight.
Sure,
they're very.
Yeah, it's like and same thing here. There's a couple moments where it's like, oh, that's genuinely like, it's like dry humor, and a couple things that are like not meant to be funny, like the German scientist who was the English scientist, and he's like, oh, how long have you been British for? He's like, as long as Hitler has said that that I wasn't German. And I'm like, that's a dark line, but also kind of funny. Where it's like, haha, ooh, yikes. Oh no, I was relatively impressed with them introducing the fact that Oppenheimer's a Jewish man. I feel like it's not negligible. He's from fucking Germany. He was there. But like them including the impact of anti-Semitism on the race towards the bomb. One thing that I like in terms of and I'm enjoying also the discourse about Oppenheimer. I haven't seen as much pushback in the final product than I did to maybe the marketing. Maybe that was just me. But just because, like, I was definitely the person that was saying, because I'm like, Nolan has a lot of work to do to convince me that this is a worthwhile project, because I'm not interested in, like, it seems relatively cut and dry of why would I want to watch the narrative about the guy that made the atomic bomb? It doesn't seem like that interesting in person. But him as there is a very interesting, more layered theme here about one, ego, and two, the American government's continued disrespect and negligence towards scientific professionals that definitely touched on me as someone that is technically a chemist. It's a life that I left behind, but it is something that is technically a part of me. So
you used to cook?
You said I still cook? In the kitchen, not in the basement. Be cooking? Yeah, pancakes. Not that Walter White.
Right.
But no, it's like there's a really interesting narrative here about ego. I thought Robert Downey Jr. was really, really good. He was fantastic, actually. He'd be a great supporting actor nom too. He was great in this movie. It's nice to see. Don't get me wrong. I will always love him as Tony Stark. It's nice when I get to see actors in other things that have always been good actors and get to like be good actors. Everyone was pretty much unrecognizable in this movie, aside from the actors that stood out as like bit parts, like Dane DeHaan being like one of the interviewers. I'm just like, where have you been? where have you been? We missed you. Like, what happened? Dane, don't go away, please, not again. Like, where have you been?
I'm surprised Leo didn't pop up in this.
Right. But
Or what's his name? His other boy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm surprised he didn't have a role in here.
Surprise. Kenneth Branagh was in here. He was in here.
Oh yeah, he was the teacher.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people.
I didn't recognize like half of it. There's so many fucking people in here. Yeah, Alden Ehrenreich. That's who it was. Tony Goldwyn. I was wondering why that. I was like, why does this white man look familiar? It's Tony Goldwyn from Scandal. I'm looking at the cast. This cast list is long as fuck.
It is very long. Christ.
Yeah, Jack Quaid.
I think I have a similar opinion.
Josh Peck.
I think that I liked the movie a lot. I didn't love it though. I think for myself, it was
too long.
I'll be real. I was never like disengaged, but I feel like the beginning of the movie was like a little. I don't say disorienting is the right word. I just feel like it was just like giving you a lot of information really fast, and I was like, I was like, okay, what's happening? And by the end of the movie, I understood, like, okay, he's on trial, and they're trying to screw over Oppenheimer. And then Oppenheimer is in this individual trial too, while also like going through his young age. I thought like at first, like all of the bouncing was like a little much.
We'll talk.
I really got tuned into the movie once he started the process of building the atomic bomb. Like he really entered the state of trying to help America. And yeah, I liked the movie. I thought Cillian Murphy was really good in the movie, and it was just, I don't know, I will say the sound design for the most part was really great. The way their usage of sound, like the scene that stands out, and I know everyone's kind of talking about the scene, was Oppenheimer making his speech to the people of the town. After the fact. The bomb dropped, and like two scenes that stick out in my mind. One, that scene, and then everyone's cheering, but it's like Oppenheimer, you can tell is like, it's like eerie. It's like an eerie scene.
Yeah,
like,
that was a leitmotif.
Kind of haunted by the fact, and then he sees that he steps in like the ashes of a person, and that scene was wild. Also, the scene where they put the bomb off for the first time, and you're fully expecting this loud explosion, but then it goes silent. It's just white silence, and then the boom.
And it happens like a minute, 2 minutes after, because I'm waiting for it, because I know that because light travels faster than sound, so that's the whole phenomena going on there. So it's like you're gonna see it before you feel it and hear it, which makes sense. And I think that was very well executed, but it was definitely a case of like I was waiting in anticipation, less for the sight and more for the sound. Because I'm like, okay, the sound's gonna hit. When is it gonna? It just like knocks you back.
Right. Yeah. No, they did that very well. And yeah, like I said, I thought like you had said earlier, the performances are all really good. Even the people that were in smaller roles kind of showed up. And I think their usage of the soundtrack for the most part worked extremely well. They made these scenes that were mostly talking feel epic, feel like they were action scenes. The one scene that like it works for me, but it's also like a little silly in retrospect, or like it's kind of funny, is the scene that sticks out in my head is when Emily Blunt at the end of the movie is kind of her turn to talk to the people on trial, or in Oppenheimer's private like little meeting, and the music is like booming, like it's this epic conversation that keeps like these quick cuts back and forth, and it's like the music's so loud you can almost not hear what the actors are saying to each other.
With this movie, that's one of my criticisms of it is, despite I love Ludwig Göransson, he's my favorite film composer out today. He's also one of my favorite musical producers. It's not that he has a bad score; it's actually a very good score, and I think the way that it's incorporated. The problem is Nolan still has an issue with balancing the dialogue, because everyone talks so small and so solemn and so close to the chest and so tightly serious with the enunciation of their words. And then you have like these drums, or like these strings and like this brass overwhelming it. The sound balance is just off. So there were a couple times where I'm just like, it's hard to hear the dialogue without subtitles, because they all talk very small and solemn and close to the chest and low in their timbre. And it's like, it's not bad music. It's just not like Nolan. It lays under the track until you need it to go over the track for thematic effect. Like you said with the scene of him being like celebrated and giving the speech. Uh, I have it, so it's like that was one issue, and then I have two others. The editing for like the first third is disjointed as fuck, and it took me way too long to understand the intention of like the color grading thing. Once I got it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But it jumps between like four different timelines with two perspectives, which is very jittery. And I don't think it needed to. I think it really could have been just predominantly effective if it were given how fast the movie goes. It would have been predominantly effective for it to be a little bit more chronological, because that was the best part, was the core middle of like Oppenheimer building up to Los Alamos and getting there and building the bomb and the complexity of building the bomb and him having to go back and forth. And then like in that you can sprinkle in the renegotiation of his security clearance as like an overarching thread. But then you have that with that, and then you have Strauss's whole plot line, and then Strauss's flashbacks like smushed in between that.
Yeah.
So it's like that's my second thing, is like how it's edited is like fast but choppy, then smooth. And then my third issue is this is a 2 hour and 20-minute movie with a 40-minute epilogue where it just completely changes tone and relatively changes focus because of that choppiness at the beginning, where it goes from it's Oppenheimer versus the US, now it's Strauss versus Oppenheimer, and all the bullshit going on behind the scenes, only for Strauss to learn it's like, well, maybe you're not as important as you think you are. So it's like it works all in the big theme of ego, but this movie did not necessitate the 3 hours. I am glad it has as many details as it does. This needs like one more edit pass over from somebody that's not Nolan.
I think the thing for me, I know everybody's loving this movie, and the reason why I didn't love it, and I just liked
really
it,
liked
I can appreciate
but
the acting. Right. I can appreciate the acting. I can appreciate the sound design. I think for me personally, I'm someone who's drawn to intimate and character psychological dives, and I felt like there's so much just on the surface that we touched, but not really dove into. For Oppenheimer, yeah, like granted, I know like the whole point was like you wanted to be like morally ambiguous, like you understood his side of like wanting to being not fully on board with what he was doing after the fact, but like I wanted to know more about his views on communism. I wanted to know why he was cheating on his wife. I wanted to
That's
know
really interesting shit. Especially the
right. You just dropped in the second half. Oh yeah, he was cheating with another girl too. Like what?
Yeah, it's like
we're just gonna
it was because wasn't it? Didn't he have a wife and 2 kids before he had Florence Pugh? Before the other wife
going down. Yeah, there's just all these details that were going by. Like, first of all, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
They want to make a movie about an event. I feel like Nolan likes to make event movies over character movies. He likes to make event movies with big ensembles that have characters in them. Sometimes that's debatable because I don't know what the fuck the protagonist was in the last Nolan.
I was gonna say,
rather than
so you didn't like it as much as Tenet?
No, I did, because like there was character stuff in there for sure. Like it just wasn't as deep because it was mostly about the plot and his relationship to the project itself. Whereas we're gonna get into it a little later, I guess. But Barbie, that was very much a character focused movie, which made me resonate.
I'm thinking about Nick's text that he sent us where he's like, Oppenheimer is the best movie than Tenet. I'm like, that's not a hard bar. And I enjoyed Tenet, but I'll never forget, what was it, a couple weeks ago or Blurred, you're like, when's the last time you hear somebody talk about Tenet? I'm like, just now as you asked me about it. I heard people talk about this shit in years since it came out. But no, I understand where you're coming from. I think Yeah, because there's a lot of it did make me more interested in the legacy of Oppenheimer, but there's like a bunch of shit that just kind of happened in the background or that's like stated. It's just like, yeah, he left his wife and kids back in Germany. It's like, what? First of all, I didn't know physicists were getting pussy like that. I'm sorry. Like, I guess this must have been the season of life where scientists were actually highly respected and regarded by the public and the government. I don't know what changed, but he was like fucking. Right, and
like 3 different women.
right, like he was a whole hoe, and not a regular hoe,
right?
Like a home wrecker. And just like, oh, the scene that got me that I was like, it was unintentionally funny, but was just Florence Pugh and Cillian Murphy have that butterball ass post sex conversation with their legs crossed. I'm like, all right, Nolan's doing something different here. I've never seen him do some avant garde bullshit like that. And then the scene when they were in the renegotiation with the board, and like he was naked in the chair talking to, and I get it. It's like, visual storytelling language of like, oh, he feels naked, but then it shifts to his wife's perspective, and she feels judged as he's talking about his mistress, and just like sees Florence Pugh fucking him in the chair in front of the room, and I'm like, this isn't supposed to be funny, but this is one of the most interesting things Nolan has done filmmaking wise in like years. Yeah. Beyond. Can we talk about the explosion, I guess?
Yeah. First, I want to say before you get into that, I saw a meme the other day. It was just like when you're supposed to be somewhere. You said you're on your way, but like an hour and 57 minutes later, there's a picture of Oppenheimer naked in the chair.
No, it'd be like that for real. Be sitting there just like dick in the wind. Like that was the wild shit. It's just like him, ass on the leather, balls on the leather. Right. Yeah, just like feet crossed, like sipping tea, just like, we need to talk about our affair. It's like we need to have a discussion about our engagement, Gene. We can. And then, the wild shit when he cried over his mistress because she killed herself, quote unquote. I think she got murdered.
Killed herself. Oh yeah, didn't they show like a glove like
her head? I'm like, oh yeah, the communist suicide. I gotcha, America. But he's like, oh my god, my bitch is dead. Oh, and his wife has to come out on horseback, like, you better get your shit together. We got some kids to raise. Right. He looked at him like, she grabbed him by the scruff of his neck. She said, you got a bomb to bake, and I got kids to feed. If you don't get your shit together, like, if you don't get your shit together and get your raggedy pale ass crying about a dead bitch in the forest, like, if you wanted it so bad, you should have stayed. You should have stayed in New York, bitch. But you know what? You hear me, and you dragged me to this hoe with a kid that I didn't want. So you better get it together, nigga. Right. Better get your shit together.
Better knock that shit off.
Cut that shit out.
You better stop crying before I give you something to cry about.
Like she was really about to fuck him up, because like, that's the same energy as correcting your girl for getting the other woman wrong. Like, first of all, her name is Samantha. Like, bitch, you got a whole lot of nerve. He's having a mental, not over the bomb that's about to decimate 2 cities in Japan, but my side piece is dead. Oh no. Oh. And your wife has to come out and be like, get your shit together. Like, that should
when your wife come to knock you out of your shit. Baby, you come to comfort me? No, I told you to get your fucking shit together.
Oppenheimer, sure, he was probably a little complex, but that's some diabolical behavior to cheat on like every woman you were with, including the side bitch. And then go on to make one of the most.
But also, not only did he cheat with the side chick, he stole another nigga's wife.
He did. You're right. He did. He cheated with one chick and stole another one in the process.
man was a whole menace. This man was a
gave
villain.
away one of his babies.
Right. Which was wild.
His wife was crying, and instead of being like, "Oh, how can I be here for you? How can I help take some of the stress off of you? I know you do a lot as a stay-at-home mom." He went to his neighbor and said, "Hey, look, bro, can you hold this baby for like 5 years? Like, just a little bit.
This shit's gonna be best for
Like
everybody."
Right. It's like, look, man, I just want to teach some kids. My wife been crying. Can you please hold on to this baby and just pretend he's yours? And they're like, oh, say no more, Robert. What? Say no more? Nah, say more, bitch. I'll be damned if I drive to your house in the middle of the bitch nigga night and come with a baby said, you want this baby, bro? Y'all ain't doing shit. You got time. Like, I'm a college professor, possibly working on the atomic bomb. My wife is an alcoholic. Just take this. It's what's best for everyone. Bitch, what about me in my time?
What about you?
He would just look at you and say, what about you? What up, right? I'm sorry. Are you the pussy getting physicist? Didn't think so. Now, excuse me while I go cheat on my wife. She was crying.
He's putting the Adam and these cheeks.
It's like you
getting these yams.
Yeah, it's like apparently this motherfucker wasn't only dropping off in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He was dropping off mad loads in his wife too, and his side pieces. God damn. One thing about him, he would fuck
pieces plural.
That is something also that I wanted to mention too, while we're, I guess, closing out a little bit on Oppenheimer. As someone that has had the experience of being in Hiroshima firsthand, it was a little surreal watching this narrative from the other side of things. Like if you ever have a chance to go to Japan and you can visit the museum of Hiroshima and even see the dome that got caught in the blast, because it's still a large chunk of it still left, a part of it fell inward and imploded. It's a fascinating historical place. I went there when I was like a kid, when I was 17. And so the thing that has kind of stuck with me is seeing what he stepped in, the ash shadows, which is like when the heat moves so fast, it literally reduces the bodies to ash. So there are a couple curated pieces of history where you can see like steps of the ash left from bodies. So it's a surreal thing to have seen it in real life and then seeing like the upbringing, the build up to that. It was kind of weird from both ends. I know some people's criticisms is that they don't show the impact on Japan from that, and I'm curious about if that would have improved it if you sacrificed the narrative, the theme and the narrative that comes with the exploration of Strauss for a greater exploration into Oppenheimer's kind of back and forth. Because what I did like, and maybe is a room for expansion, but it was something that I really enjoyed, is with him, he was he was apprehensive, but still on board to make the bomb. Because it's like, if someone's going to do it, I'd rather I do it. That I am kind of the figurehead and instrument of this destruction. Although ultimately, like Truman pointed out, they're not going to blame Oppenheimer. They're going to blame the president because he's the one that has to co-sign it. He's the one that, which is true.
But yeah, nobody talks about fucking Truman though. Everyone talks about Oppenheimer when they
the bomb. So it's like it's given to either way. It's like everyone, I'd say, broadly talks about, oh, America dropped the bomb, but in reality, it's like it's Truman and Oppenheimer, like the big instruments, and then the other generals and scientists. But what I liked is building up to it and during the development and everything, you see, and even after the first testing and it goes off well, and it's a success and they're starting to cart the bombs up and everything, and people are excited. I see it from two perspectives. As a scientist who's also under contract from the government, you are relieved, and they do this very well with the visual storytelling. You are relieved that your effort is not for nothing. That you have done this
Yeah.
research, you've done this scientific exploration, you've conducted these tests and experiments, and they go off without a hitch. You have achieved a nexus point in scientific history that will forever change, like physics and theoretical. You have now changed the trajectory of science for the rest of history, and that's undeniable for what Oppenheimer and all those additional scientists have done. Then once you get the cheering done, you're like, yes, I did this amazing feat that will change the course of scientific history. The asterisk comes in, and then the dread follow suit of, I have done this in pursuit of creating the most dangerous weapon known to mankind. I have revolutionized science in pursuit of death, in pursuit of destruction, in pursuit of a weapon. And
now, fast forward all these years later, and the nuclear weapons are thousands times more powerful than they were back in the 1940s.
Yeah. So we would not be here today nuclearly without Oppenheimer, which it's like you have become one of the great, it's a monkey's paw. You've become one of the greatest scientists in the history of mankind. Your legacy won't be forgotten for what you've done in the realm of physics, specifically because you made a doom weapon that functionally reset a country.
Right. He has become death.
Destroyer of worlds. Exactly. I like his delivery on that because, like, out of context, it can be a very corny line, but it's like how they weave it into the narrative and then use it the two times they do. They don't oversaturate it. He only says it twice. He says it once and then it's echoed at the end. And I think it's well used. And like even the ending with Einstein was built up well. But yeah, it's like I have my criticisms of the movie, and it's like you said, I really, really like it. I can't see myself seeing it again anytime soon. But I do have like some critiques of, I think, what could take it to being a great movie. There are some minor things that could have been addressed, but this is kind of an overall Nolan issue of just like the lack of the discussion of the impact of your leading white character's behavior on the people of color in particular that historically have context of this. So it's like there were black and brown, there were black people in his class when he was a teacher. So I thought that was an interesting addition. But it's like, you know, like the scientists and more.
Where were they in the movie? Where were the black people?
They were in his science class, but I don't, that he was teaching. There was a black girl and a black guy that I noticed in the background. They didn't really have lines. But I think the bigger ones are the natives that the government took the land from and refused to give it back, as they are known to do. Where it's like, what can we do? Well, we can give the land back to the natives. Well, what if we need it for another bomb? It's like, I'm like, you bitches.
But why would you?
Yeah, it's like just made up some bullshit excuse. Like, well, what if we need to do another test? Well, I mean, we're gonna need that. Don't give it back. There's some bullshit reasons. Like, but I think the bigger ones were the natives from the land that they stole and didn't give back, and the Japanese, who were the literal, like, I usually use, in certain contexts, use the word survivor in place of the word victim as a tool of, like, clarity and whatnot. No, they were the victims of that bombing. Now, say what you will about the ethical and moral debate of the use of the bomb, you cannot deny the facts that there were the victims of that shit.
I heard if Hiroshima didn't happen, like their next plan was like the bomb for San Francisco or something like that.
Oh, was it?
I think that. Yeah, I could be wrong. I could be bullshitting, but I heard that recently.
Like the Japanese are going to bomb San Francisco? Oh no, that would have been
after.
Imagine if they took out that
after Pearl Harbor. Yeah, because Pearl Harbor happened, and then Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened. But I heard if that didn't happen, their next target was San Francisco.
That wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world, only because up to that point, the to my understanding, the Japanese were pretty gnarly in terms of their war conquest. Like, what was it, the 1800s? They almost took over China.
Was it really? Really?
I know historically Japan fucked China up for a little bit until we hit them with those 2 reset buttons. We bombed 3 ships. They dropped the sun on us twice, which is the most concise description of Pearl Harbor and the bombing I've ever heard. But no, overall, it's a very good movie. It's probably going to last longer as far as one of Nolan's longer movies. I'm certain they're going to do some extended cut, some Snyder cut, 4.5 hour epic of everything that wasn't in the movie. And it's like, I might watch it then, but good God, it doesn't need to be 3 hours. There's
Right. I also don't think it is Nolan's magnum opus, like people keep saying.
I have to go back and watch his other movies to compare. I know Tenet's not up there.
I've never seen Dunkirk before.
Oh, he did do Dunkirk.
Prestige either.
Yeah, I guess Dunkirk, Interstellar, Memento, Prestige. Like,
Interstellar was good. I've only seen it the one time, but I remember.
Yeah, it's like I got plenty of other things of his to watch. But honestly, yeah, Insomnia, didn't even know about that. So I got a fair amount of. I completely forgot Dunkirk happened.
Same. It came
I did see Inception. I saw most of Inception. I liked Inception. I don't know. Maybe that's a series we'll do someday. Is just like going through his fucking movies. Jesus. Yeah, he does have skip right past Man of Steel because that's only a writing and production credit. It doesn't count. Has to be things he's directed.
Right.
But But yeah, do we want to move on to our final topic?
Yes, the delightful topic. The cherry on top, the pink cherry on top of this conversation.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this. Barbie. Barbie was so good. Barbie was great. Let me not mince words. Barbie was great. I loved Barbie. I was excited for Barbie, honestly, like when the trailer dropped, which, first of all, phenomenal trailer for what is literally the opening of the movie. I'm like, that's how you fucking do it.
Right. No, I thought the same thing. Like, let's go.
Right. Like,
let's go.
It was
great. Oh man, I'll let you go off and then I'll go off.
I don't know where to start or where to begin. I think this is like, I guess the second experience I've had with a Greta Gerwig product. I'm trying to think what else I've.
You know what? Actually, can I go off for a second? Can I speak the truth? All right. So, I walked into Barbie, not really knowing what to expect. I was like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be a fun little Greta Gerwig movie. You know, like it's gonna be quirky, it's gonna be weird. And then, as the movie, because I think I watched one trailer, and I was just, I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, I only need one trailer. Sometimes I don't even finish the trailer. I'm just like, I see enough to get me intrigued. Like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see any more marketing. I did it with Barbie, I did it with Oppenheimer, and I did it with Ninja Turtles. And so far, the experience of doing that has not let me down. So I watched Barbie, expecting this fun movie, and all of a sudden, Barbie dropped this line. Has anybody ever thought about what it means to die? And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. So then it turns from this quirky, like everything's perfect kind of meta movie to talking about like the realness of like what it means to be human, a woman's experience in the world is in relation to what it's like to be in the Barbie's world. Talks about manhood in relation to women, and it talks about, you know, self-identity and what it means to be alive, and like all of these important themes. And it really shook me, it really surprised me that this movie about this Mattel toy turned out to be so powerful and so poignant, while also being hilarious with Ryan Gosling and the other characters, but having so much heart and having so much genuine commentary about the world and what it's like to be a woman within this world. And the way that I think the thing that resonated was the way that they handled men. And I know we're probably going to get into this in a larger conversation, but I just want to say that, for lack of better term, at the beginning of the movie, Ken's existence was solely to worship and please Barbie.
He was literally objectified.
Ken, he was objectified.
No, say what you said again. I don't know if the mic caught it. Say it again.
Ken was a simp, essentially. And the whole movie, or half of the movie, it's about him wanting to do this to win Barbie's affection, get Barbie's attention. And then he goes to the real world, and his whole purpose prior to that was to get Barbie's attention and to please Barbie. But then he discovers a sense of joy in the sense that what he perceives to be masculinity. Right. He finds something in the face of the rejection of Barbie's attention, but in an effort to win Barbie's affection. And at the end, it becomes this thing about him not needing to be something in relation to Barbie, but yet finding his own identity outside of Barbie and discovering what it means to be him. And I feel like a lot of young guys kind of fall into that trap because they want that love, they want that affection from the opposite sex. And because they've had negative experiences with women, or like they feel like they've never gotten the attention they deserved, or they feel like they've been rejected, or they've been put in the friend zone or whatever, I feel like they go to these negative influences of what it means to be a man in order to find fulfillment and to acquire what they believe to be masculinity in the efforts of getting the female gaze or female attention. But it's coming from a treacherous place. And granted, the Barbie movie does it in a more tongue-in-cheek way, but it's essentially the same thing. And I thought it was they handled it very well about the identity, the feeling of overcoming or seeing through the guise of toxic masculinity to get to finding a sense of self that is independent of the desire or approval of the opposite sex.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab something real quick, but go off.
Oh yeah. So I thought that part really was kind of wild, and the fact that, you know, I'm still unpacking certain parts of the movie, but I loved even the whole relationship with what Barbies mean and what they're supposed to represent, their original intention, versus how they've kind of been bastardized and viewed in the modern world. And they didn't dive too much into that aspect, but they touched on it, how like Barbie is this false representative for like beauty standards, and like women like they failed to live up to the standard of what it means to be a Barbie, even though their intention wasn't to demoralize women, but to raise them up, to maximize the fantasy, or to maximize and capitalize on the potential of the limitless possibilities of what a woman can be within the world. And I thought it was interesting that it even touched on that to begin with, because, you know, Barbie's traditionally been something for children, right? And I know that there's been X amount of animated Barbie movies, and I'm sure they've kind of stayed within the realm of Barbie-verse being a child's property. Barbie version, the Barbie-verse. And they shot, the movie didn't have to do any of that. All it had to do was be a fun, entertaining Barbie movie, and it decided to rise above and be more. Which, if you can't give a movie credit or recognize that baffles me. And so what? Maybe they're like, I feel like a lot of dudes kind of like heard the word patriarchy and they kind of like tuned out, and like went through listening mode.
Media literacy about this movie was so bad it was almost comedic. Like,
yeah, I didn't watch his video. It was gonna make me mad.
I watched somebody reacting to his videos, so that's the only reason I know.
Okay, but yeah, I feel like a lot of dudes were like tuned out to the, because I knew walking out of them like, oh, there's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers that hate this movie, 110%, or like think it's dumb, or like oversimplify it, because they're just like, they hear a certain point of view and then they'll turn it into white noise and then overgeneralize it because they couldn't digest what was actually being said and actually open up their ears, whether it be through feeling personally attacked, whether it be through lack of emotional intelligence, whatever. But I had a feeling that
understanding the concepts, because the movie's super empathetic to men. Like, I don't think a lot of people are tagging on or even giving enough attention to that. Like, just to start, I love this movie. I love its production. I love it very much from like a feminist perspective too. Like, and when I saw the trailer, before that, when I saw that it was Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig was directing, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like an existential feminist piece. I knew that from like trailer one. I wasn't expecting to be like fun, bubbly, simple movie. No, I'm like, this shit is gonna have some layers. I wasn't expecting the way that it went about it, because the movie is not only a critique of patriarchal systems, it is also a critique of uh both second and third wave feminism and the ways that they've come to blows with one another. So in and of itself, because
Mm.
Barbie is a product more of like, if I recall, she's from what, the 40s and 50s. So I would have been like,
Something like that.
so that would have been
Yeah.
around like the second wave, you know, versus now we're in like
Mm-hmm.
late third, probably more like fourth wave, and that's where you have like the differences in the generation, because you have Barbie, you have America Ferrera's character, and then you have her daughter. And so like our generation is probably closer to like America Ferrera's type. It was like we remember ads for Barbie, and I have friends that played with Barbie as a kid, but like the generation behind us, like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they probably don't play with Barbie like that. And they're a lot more aware
Probably not.
of the systems at bay that have created either what's it called, paradoxes or complications for like women. Like we've seen the issue in the fight for like reproductive rights, even the shit that I touched on earlier about was I want to say it's like the Equal Rights Act or something like that. Uh the Equal Rights Amendment is what it is, and that's the thing I was trying to refer to earlier. But no, it's like Barbie and Barbie Land. It's funny because it has dual roles. They're dual points. Like Barbie Land is functionally a matriarchy, which is how some very small fringe groups of people do see their feminism, where it's like it's female superiority. That is the matriarchy, where it is like the women rule, the women have most of the jobs, a lot of the guys are eye candy, a lot of the guys function is without use. You are an, you know, you're an object, you're objectified. So that in and of itself as a structure is also a like weird mirrored reflection of our world, where it's the opposite, where a lot of the men are in charge and maintain power. Now granted, the Barbie Land is a much more simplistic, less nuanced things. There's no issues with like race. There are noted issues of gender, but functionally there's no biological sex. It's basically the same day with the same people. It's a weird utopian dystopia where it's like things are perfect unless you've been to other places. Where it's like, yeah, things are perfect because they're the same. They've always been the same. No one's causing harm, but there is no progression. And so, like, the
Right.
Kens are not exactly second class citizens, but they're not exactly like regarded as much. It's like, hi Ken, hi Ken.
They don't have homes, bro. They are
You
second
said they're
class citizens.
hoes.
Where do the kids live?
Yeah, they're just like, but they're, you know, they're accent points. They're just Ken. Versus you have President Barbie. You know, you have Midge, the discontinued pregnant Barbie. You have, you know, astronaut Barbie. You have astrophysics Barbie. You got teacher Barbie. You got doctor Barbie. You got nurse Barbie. All the Barbies have their occupations. And then there's the Kens that are Ken. And then Alan, who is Ken's buddy. Um, and so
And all his clothes fit.
right, all of his clothes fit. And so it's like that in and of itself is commentary of just like, oh, there are women that are treated as accessories on the other side of things, while all the men get to gallivant with the big jobs. And you saw they had to have a whole revolution for there to be even like, even at the end where it's like, oh, can we get full equal voting rights? It's like, let's slow down. You know, it's like, can we get rights in the Supreme Court? It's like, let's relax on that. We'll give you a spot in the lower courts. It's like, and that's a good first step. It's like, yikes. Because I'm pretty sure that, you
Right.
know, it probably took a while
What happened to
for, yeah,
Earl?
it had
Yeah.
probably, because it's like, that's the parallel, you dumb fucks. You know, that's why when Ken comes to our world and it's like, wow, dudes get to do, because you Ken thought, all Ken thought patriarchy was, it's not getting into the issues, it's not getting into hundred and years of of systemic oppression on multiple fronts. It's not getting into intersectionality. It's dudes get to do cool shit, hang out, and have horses. It was a super unnuanced take for the point of it being fucking funny, because it is. Even he said, when I found out patriarchy wasn't about horses, I kind of got disinterested. Yeah, all he wanted was a chance to just like do some shit that he wanted to do. And that gets to another thing that like people don't give attention to. And this is maybe me looking at as someone that who does try to advocate for the rights of women, but also tries to make sure that there is attention given to men, because that's a big issue, is that like men's issues aren't, addressed either. Neither issues are addressed in very different ways. And that's, an important thing to denote. A lot of men lose their identity if they do not feel as if they have a purpose. And that was Ken's whole arc, is that his entire identity was being in relation to Barbie, the same way where a lot of men define themselves either by their occupation or their relationship to their partners. Even if they're in the position of like being the provider and like whatnot, it'll be like, what are you? It's like, oh, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a technician. It's like all those things are in service of other people. It's not, I'm a lover, I care, I have interests and passions and dreams and goals. It's I do this for this person, I do this for this person, and I do this for these people. So you defined yourself you've objectified yourself into a series of occupations. And that's why it's meaningful.
A series of roles.
A series of roles. And if you don't have that, and that's the thing with Ken, he's like, I don't know who I am without being in relation to Barbie. That's why when other people try to take over my spot, I'm going to feel away, because who am I if I'm not that? If Barbie's gone, the fuck is Ken going to do? And that's why I love not only what it does with the Kens, but also what it does with the Barbies, where she's like, you know what, and that's like that second wave versus fourth wave, because you have like this little girl who's like, you're a fascist, you're a negative representation, you give like women poor beauty standards, when like at the I understand as an idea, and throughout even what she says, she's like, I don't want to be a concept anymore, I want to be a human, like I want to live versus I want to exist versus be something that people look up to. And that's a fair point, especially with her specifically being stereotype Barbie. Like she's the benchmark of all, like the first Barbie. And so I like that, because there was a time, and I don't think it's really disqualified even from now, where that was a thing that little girls needed to be like, you can be a doctor, you can be an astronaut, you can be the president, who gives a shit? You can be a suffragette, you can be a cook, and all that is dope. And I think like women should have things that they aspire to. And as the world got more nuanced, I think people historically took the wrong lesson from Barbie, where it was a simple thing. It's like, this is a toy that looks like a person, and it's like, it's supposed to be aspirational. It's like, hey, doesn't matter, it's traditional feminism of like, hey, you know what? The girls can do anything the boys can do. And it's like, yeah. And I feel like that's a pretty simple, sweet message. Then things got more complex as they do. Our understanding of gender got more nuanced. Dynamics got different. Women actually did come into more power, and they got a little different in terms of how you look at it. Women got viewed by society in a different way. We got more nuanced takes. We had greater conversation about like sex, sexuality, gender, things like that. And so you have this peak epitome of like second wave feminism, just like, oh, I'm an image, I'm a concept, I'm an idea, versus a much more radical modern take of just like, you at a time were an object of aspiration. Now, by modern standards, you are an object of objectification. You are a non-nuanced, you are too simple for an incredibly complex world. And you won't fit, and you will obviously clash, and we're going to critique you for it. Now, I think the thing is, that little girl is not supposed to be like a hero. She's a dick. And there are some kids that are dicks. Is she wrong? Yes and no. But we have greater experience with Barbie, and we're going to have a little bit more empathy, because it's like, she doesn't fucking know that, she's unintentionally like reinforcing potentially harmful or hegemonic beauty standards. And it's not like Barbie's going around on some Lizzo shit fat shaming and like calling people ugly.
Right.
No, she was nice and polite the whole shit to all the other brown Barbies, to pregnant Midge, to the only one they were a little wonky to was Crazy Barbie. And at the end, they apologized because she has a character arc. But it's like, oh God, it's so fucking good. And I think even there was some subtle shit in there because they don't have enough time to dig into intersectionality. I think whether it was intended, this is a movie about white feminism for a white feminist to realize that white feminism isn't the most helpful because, and I think America Ferrera is kind of the middle ground of that because, hey, it's interesting that the brown woman, the Latina mom, who falls into an intersection of being like a, female and a woman and also a person of color is the one that breaks the cycle of people's kind of fascination into a simpler version of like the hypnosis or the appeal of patriarchy where it's like because that's historically it was a lot of black and brown people doing the work behind the scenes. That's not taking away from white women that fought for women's rights. But if you look at even like the suffragettes, you got the suffragettes and then the black suffragettes, it's like, all those black and brown women that fought for like queer rights, civil rights. They've always been there. And they're usually the ones that have to shake white women out of the system and like other women too. So you got like even Issa Rae is president Barbie. So it's like it's usually black and brown women shaking other mostly white people to be like, hey, the system's rigged against you. It's not going to help you. You're still going to exist as a paradox. Like you have to be nice, but not too nice. You have to be stern, but not bossy. You have to be likable, but otherwise, you can't be too likable or people might think you're sexually attracted. And if you don't show interest, then they might try to kill you. Like things like that. And it's like, yeah, that's some harsh shit. So it's like and and kind of wake up to say, oh man, shit. It's not saying that being a woman is impossible, but as a woman, there's like just as much as a man, there's a lot of nuance to it, and sometimes you can kind of lose yourself in what the world tells you you're supposed to be versus you being allowed to be that. And you get told that you're a Barbie the whole time, where it's just like, life is plastic. It's fantastic. Things are simple. But versus being a human where you have to go to the gynecologist and make sure your vaginal health. I think that's actually it's a hilarious joke for the ending. It's kind of dark. Not in like a myopic or like an Oppenheimer way of just like, oh no, what have I done? It's dark on a personal way where it's like, oh honey, you have sprouted a vagina. That means you probably have a uterus and ovaries. That means you have to enter the world of vaginal health, which is it. That means it's like, congratulations, Barbie, you now get periods. Fuck, you might want to go back while you're at it. Because that shit is,
you now get periods and you can now get pregnant and now you can get old.
It's like it's not only that, you have to deal with the impacts that estrogen has on your body. Fuck, you will get like cramps, bleeding, pH imbalances, yeast infections, the pap smears, IUDs. Holy fuck! Like that's why I think that joke is funny, but also like kind of dark. Where it's like, ha ha, oh honey, you don't even know what's about to go down. Like they don't use anesthetic for IUDs, like internal ones. No, they just kind of stick a needle and shoot in that hoe. I enjoy being a male-bodied man because fuck, we got away easy, bro. Like, I would rather fight the patriarchy from the inside, bro, than the outside. I'm sorry. I like being a Ken is rough. I'd rather be a Ken than a Barbie in this world, man. Because goddamn.
Yeah, no, they go through it. Women definitely go through it. Do not envy them at all.
I respect them. I don't envy them.
Yeah.
Well,
amen to that.
I don't know. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, the Ken takeover was funny. That was mad funny.
Yeah, the Ken takeover was funny.
Oh, the dance was good. The song was good too.
The songs were good. The dance was good. The soundtrack was fire. The Billie Eilish song was really sad.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's Billie Eilish. What do we expect?
Lizzo songs were funny.
I like the Lizzo songs. I really like the opening. It has a strong opening.
I think it's interesting because this movie. Hold on. Let me see when the other one came out. Because I've seen so many movies this year. I can't remember if the other one came out this year. Because this is like the more poignant version. Oh no, that was last year.
What was?
Whoa! Don't worry, darling.
Oh, you did see that.
Yeah, because it's like this more poignant version of like what they tried to do of like having a dystopian society and like it's set in this time period with all this fake stuff and men not being men kind of being about the patriarchy and like men's desires and stuff in relation to, granted, like this is more nuanced than that, but
which is
them being in like the perfect world.
You wouldn't expect to say last year. Barbie's more nuanced than Don't Worry, Darling.
Right. Okay, that came out September of last year. Yeah. Yeah, but no, it was great. I loved it. I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind giving it a second watch. I'm not gonna lie. It does a lot for being like just under 2 hours. It's good. I mean, if I had to like nitpick, Will Ferrell doesn't do much. I mean, he's funny while he's there.
He's funny. I didn't mind their inclusion. I thought I was like, what are the odds that he plays like the business guy in both this?
I was gonna say it's like he's like the same villain that he was in the Lego movie, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, man, I think we did it. I think we killed it. As far as this conversation goes, we both love it. We both definitely recommend it. We both liked it more than Oppenheimer.
it's like, oh yeah, no, Oppenheimer is really good, but Barbie. Oh, I think we could talk a whole other hour about Barbie. God damn, there's a lot of Barbies and Kens. Gloria, that was America Ferrera's character's name.
Gloria. Okay.
But now my brain is going through the I'm just Ken. I'm just Ken. Okay, so the old lady Anne Roth is an American costume designer, 5-time Academy Award nominee, and she won twice for The English Patient and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I was wondering who that old lady was in the movie.
Yeah, Ruth. Was her name Ruth?
The lady who. So I know who Ruth was because I knew just by coincidence some stuff had passed my feed, so I knew that Ruth was the creator of Barbie because I know Rhea that was Rhea Perlman. Okay, so I recognized her. Did you see Matilda? That's
the movie.
Yeah, that's
Matilda?
The mom. The movie. That's the mom from the movie of Matilda, not the musical, which I still need to see. But that's the mom from the movie version of Matilda with damn, that's another one that was there. The girl that played Matilda. She's also very small. So was Steve.
I know that the one girl, the one who did the movie we were talking about the other day. Not Pretty Little Liars. Promising Young Woman. She was Midge, the lady who directed that movie.
Oh yeah. She was Midge.
Yeah, she played Midge.
Huh. Yeah, no, this has a lot of familiar faces in it. Oh shit, Met Narrative was in this?
They both have a staff cast.
God damn this.
Was there any with as big as both of these casts were? Was there any crossover? Was there anybody that was in both Barbie and Oppenheimer?
I don't think so. Especially because like Barbie was way more diverse than Oppenheimer was.
Right.
Which is one of those sentences that just kind of happens.
Yeah, because most of the cameos in Oppenheimer were white dudes.
White dudes and white women. And Barbie, honestly, I don't think it's actually a majority white cast. 1, 2.
Also, the crazy part is this one Barbie movie had like 3 cast members from the show Sex Ed.
Yeah, it was like Nkuti Gatwa. Who else? Was it Sharon Rooney?
The chick who was up for Lois Lane. And Adam, the black dude's boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Kingsley Ben-Adir was in here too from Secret Invasion. Is one of the he was basketball Ken.
Also, are you caught up on
No,
sex ed?
I'm incredibly behind. My partner's mad at me that I'm behind. Look, it's a long show, bro. Every episode's an hour. I need the time.
It's 3 seasons. You got time before they drop season 4. Whenever
Isn't
that
that
happens.
the last season?
It might be because Homeboy's about to be the doctor.
I need to catch up on Doctor Who too. I got bloody British shows.
Same. When are they dropping that special?
The next Doctor special, I think it's supposed to be in a couple months, isn't it? I'm behind on Who by like several seasons, so I got to make myself catch up. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, do we have any other praise for Barbie? Like great soundtrack, great costume design, great production design, dope acting. Everybody's great. Margot fucking kills it.
Michael Cera was
fun with this. He had a funny line. It's like, as soon as they learn how to stop laying those bricks vertically and lay them horizontally, we're gonna be in trouble. Yeah. No, I really liked Barbie, and I like a lot of what it says about patriarchy versus feminism and how feminism can kind of eat itself. And even how it's resolved, it's like it's not 100% solution, which I think is even there. Yeah, it's
right, because it's not solved in the real world. So how's this movie going to solve
right? It, and I think the other thing too is I think some people wanted it to be a little more like
fun or kid friendly.
Well, yeah, on the right they wanted to be more fun and kid friendly. I think on the left they want it to be a little bit more intersectional, and I'm like, this is a movie for white women that think they have feminism figured out. This is a white woman commenting on white feminism. It's not a white woman trying to create intersectional feminism. That's what I took of it. So this isn't a white woman doing bell hooks. This is a white woman doing white feminism, where it's like, hey, it's not enough to just do the surface level shit that you do. And you also got to check up on your boys. Like, I'm glad that Barbie and Ken were able to settle things amicably, too. Even his little tantrum at the end. He just ran into... Ryan Gosling was really fucking good in this movie.
He was great. He's great. He stole every scene he was in.
They were both really good. The genital... I'm remembering, like, more and more of the movie. It's very funny. I went...
Every time they throw the costumes, it would like go into full like flat and show the name of the costume.
Yeah, there was that. Like good. This movie, I'm not even gonna lie, the marketing in this movie fucking worked. Because when I walked out, I'm like, I could buy a Barbie or a Ken.
Right.
My first thing when I walked with my friend is like, I want a shirt that says I am Knuff. All my boys is like, we are Knuff, man. Remember this. You are Knuff. You're important. You are loved. You are Knuff.
Yeah, I'd wear a hoodie that says I'm
like that hoodie was kind of fly. I won't even hold you. That'd be some dope shit to rock in the winter time. Just pull it with the I'm Knuff hoodie. It's like a boxer. Just you already know the vibe.
Now I now understand. Right, I now understand all of Ryan Gosling's hype. He's just like, it's about the Kenergy. Like I really translated
a whole lot of gang shit, bro. Like, he was spitting cold facts.
I'm like, gang shit.
Yeah, no, it's like it's a very empathetic movie to men, and I don't think people got it as much as I wish people would discuss it, because it says a lot, and it's very like there's stuff about patriarchy, but like it takes the piss out of patriarchy for men and women, because it's fucking like it's so like it's not something that you could fight outwardly. So what can you do but kind of laugh? It's like if your takeaway is like patriarchy is guys get to drink beer and horses, and I'm like, I mean, it's not that. You know, I guess that's the other side too, is like the responsibility that comes from the person in the position of power. Like the other Barbies, while they were hypnotized, they also said they were relaxed. They're like, I haven't relaxed like this in ever. And it's like, yeah, that's with the pressure for men to constantly be in a position of power, there is a drain that happens when your labor is like for everyone else, where everyone relies on you. You don't get a break. And so it's like, yeah. Are you, yes, you're hypnotized into being a maid. It's a little weird. But other than that, it's like, oh, I finally get a break to like do some other shit than like physics all the time. It doesn't mean that you don't love what you do, but we all need a break. We both took vacations. Like, sometimes you need to not be an idea. And you can't be. You're a person. You're complex than that. So
yeah.
No, Barbie is probably my second favorite movie of the year. I'm thinking. It's
likewise. I think we did it. I think we covered it all.
I think that's good. Ran a little bit over, but I think we're all right. I don't know. Anything else about Barbie, or should we close it out?
I think we can close it out. I think we can.
All right. Yeah, that has been the show. If you would like to leave us a question, leave it with the hashtag #ACE. I'll probably drop a Q&A on the Spotify. But don't forget to like the show, share the show with your friends, turn on notifications, rate the show 5 stars, thumbs up, all that jazz. Again, don't forget to like the show, share the show, rate the show 5 stars, share it with your friends. Don't forget to leave a question with the hashtag #AskAce. Aaron, where can the people find you at, bro?
You can find me at The Real Aaron Alexander on Instagram, and you can find me at Aaron Alexander64 on TikTok. You can also find me guest starring on the Real Rejects YouTube channel. I'm going to start being on there a lot more. We just dropped a video that was the Alice Eve special of Invincible. Ooh. That's a lot of fun.
We'll have to talk about that
and we
in the future. That was good.
Yeah. We definitely should. And another reaction for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2014 version, is coming out soon. So look out for that.
Yeah, and if you're looking for me, you can find me on my own Instagram at Will the Greatest. You can find me on TikTok at Will.thegreatest. And we also have the podcast on Official Ace Podcast, I believe is the current Instagram handle. So that's where you can find us at. My YouTube is also Will the Greatest. I might have another video cooking up, hopefully. I got a couple ideas swirling around on what I can do. I got a couple things I got to redo, but I've been very busy. August is going to be a big month for me, for my professional life, trying to get the ball rolling on some hopefully fruitful things for my non-media, non-pop culture career. But we'll see how things go. Putting some auditions out for stuff, so yeah. But in the meantime, that's been us, and we will see you guys next time.